Sharif.
No.
Nah. We're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream. Joseph, we already have Fabian. We already have a lot of interactive stuff to talk about. As we have a new IPO as Adara and the boys brought to us at the end of the show there. Shout out to Kalua. Skull, my man, what's going on? We got ADL, the OG, Adam DeLuce. We got Time, Light Soul, and Ronaldo. How about Lo-Fi Soul? We got lots of souls today. Monty G, shout out to Tyrone Hamilton and Jacques Gorev, the OG. We got X-Bangs, we got Stock Up, we got Stuart, Tisha. A lot of small cap gappers today, Tisha, so we'll be interacting. How about Julie B and Vern, Cass M, After, Star, and Ron John. Shout out to... there we go. We got Angel or Angel Fonska and Nicole Harris. Shout out to Hotlana. We got Ned Rec, XRP, Borahut, Mohammed, Time, 1320 Wolf, and Ron John. Shout out to Northwest Sasquatch. Oslam, Dylan Patel. We got Saint Martin, like the country. We got B. Davis, Michael. We got Hytham, and... who else, baby? We got Rev Boost, Andre, Aziz, Gonzo Trader. Like these markets, Gonzo to the downside. We got Bart Simpson, kind of interesting there. We got Wasser, Soko. One more, come on, give me one good. Jersey Boy, okay. Ooh, right. Monty G Allied, another one. And we got Costa. Shout out to everybody on this Monday. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. It's not that good for the long terms unless you're short. In the long term for whatever reason, but we will try to make this the best possible intraday trading session that we can muster together. The best. It's gonna be the best.
It's gonna be the best day ever.
He got an early start yesterday, didn't he, bro?
Oh,
yeah, you see him on Air Force One. He's like, no, the tariffs are going to be good.
They're going to be good. They're going to be great. I mean, they're going to be the best tariffs ever. Okay, but yeah, but yeah, guys, a nice little rebound. You wake up and you have that massive gap down in the markets, slowly starting to recover. I thought that was going to be the narrative for some names, especially like Bitcoin. And seeing Tesla, I thought that we would look to start to fill some of this gap here, and that's what's kind of coming into play. We're not there on the overall market yet, but you can see that on IBIT here, guys. Has filled about half of that gap. I took a little trade on it this morning. Really missed this entry down here, Gorb. That was so money. And then I was waiting for this retest of the volume weighted average price, but we didn't get it. So that was the little scalp there on IBIT. But other than that, we're just managing this TQs here. We're slowly grinding higher. So you can see this is entry one right here, guys. Got stopped out break even. I'm like, all right, let me be a little bit more patient. There's volatility here. Tried again, small stop out, but then we just hopped right back in, and now everything seems to be working pretty good. We got a hot lesson to touch on, so let's get into what we usually do here, guys, and that's going to be the top performing sectors this morning at the top of its class today. In that win is the consumer staples up about 1.4% on the session, and then we're sitting in second place here is the energy sector up about 1.39, and then the utilities up about 1.1% there, guys. The bottom three, the communication sector, negative 0.8%, so 0.8 there, guys. Consumer discretionary down 1.6, being led by Tesla himself, Elon himself, I guess you could say. And then the tech sector down about 1.7. So the tech-heavy sectors seem to be dragging the market down once again. Sharif.
All right, guys, there is an IPO, and it is going to halt yet again. Newsmax halted to the upside, 23.66. If you're not part of the cable news world or you just don't care, this is that new channel to kind of rival. I don't even know if it's left, center, or what the hell it is, okay? They seem to be kind of an alternative news source. I don't know. They had Donald Trump on there, I think, last week. So Newsmax is what they are. I just know them because they have that Chris Cuomo guy. Who left CNN, I guess, unceremoniously because of his brother's actions. And he's on there. I know they have some other older anchors from CNN on there as well. Newsmax is, I see little bits and pieces of it on social media. I get little clips here and there. So it's halted right now, 23.66 to the upside. A big boy look on the day. We'll keep tabs on that for you. And here's what we're looking at for small cappers, though, before we start the lesson du jour. ICCT, this is the best of the bunch, okay? In my humble submission, currently really respecting these moving averages, respecting levels. It's giving you the most amount of volume. It's up 300%, yada, yada, yada. And in addition to all of that, it started running in the aftermarket on Friday. I don't know why, and I don't care. We're just going to trade the technicals on this one, but ICCT looking real good here, Joseph. We also have FBGL. We've got Blue, BLUE. Rich Tech Robotics looking like it wants to hold that 10 exponential like a dang glove on the top right of your screen there. Not up much percentage on the day, only about 6 and change. CORT, this was a runner in the pre-market, kind of dying off a little bit, but not really giving up the ghost. It's obviously very expensive, $100 some odd name, so you're going to have to size in carefully here. HOLO, another former runner, one that we know very well on this desk. It is south of $1 though, trying to hold up above the volume weighted average price. UMC looks a little bit better, 14 3/4 right now, trying to curl off that 17.5 or 17 1/3 area low, and then MLGO looks like it's giving up the ghost. MLGO might get replaced here by BYON. Shout out to Tisha. BYON looks a lot better than MLGO, so live in living color. MLGO lost its spot there on the side chart and is now being replaced by BYON, which has a hell of a better uptrend right now, but not up much on the day, about 9.5%, looking to go 10. So Newsmax, as I mentioned at the top, halted 23.66. It is a new, this is an IPO, guys, or DL or SPAC? IPO, right? So this is an IPO, guys. I appreciate that. Adara keeping us apprised of the situation. And it is no better day, Joseph, to talk about IPOs on a second day play on CoreWeave and a first day play on Newsmax. Now, like I planned it, didn't even know that Newsmax was going to IPO today, so just putting that out there. But we are talking about trading IPO flips, the intraday dance, so to speak. What the hell am I talking about? Well, day trading flips involves buying and selling the same stock, specifically IPOs, SPACs, and DLs, multiple times within a single trading day. The goal here is to capture small profits from short-term price fluctuations. This lesson dives deeper into entry points, technical signals, and creating that trading plan. So let's get right to it, as we always do. Why would we want to flip flips with new listing? Like, what's the move here of trading these flips? So number one, there's high volatility, right? These events often experience significant price swings, as we're watching right now with NMAX, due to the hype, the news, the market sentiment shifts, creating multiple entry and exit points. And then there's also, the intraday momentum that we want to capitalize on. New listings can develop strong momentum throughout the day, offering opportunities for quick trades, both on uptrends and downtrends. So that's why we're looking to take things both long and short for these IPOs. It presents us both opportunities there. So what's the art of the flip, so to speak? And I'm not talking about the art of the deal. Shout out to Donald Trump. I'm talking about the art of the flip, taking these long and short on the same day. Well, you got to dig into your technical analysis toolbox in order to gauge that. So let's talk about charting first and foremost, right? So charting, you utilize price charts, moving averages like that 50-day, that 200-day, and as well as, these oscillators like RSI, MACD, etc., to identify potential entry and exit points. So let's talk about the entry, right? Your entry on an uptrend, you're looking here for a price breakout above a short-term moving average. Like if we're trading below the 10 exponential or the 50 exponential, whatever you use on a habitual basis, so that you're able to gauge its validity or invalidity for the specific trade. Don't try to use something novel that you haven't really practiced on. Stick to what you know. So you want to look for a price breakout above a short-term moving average with increased trading volume. This will suggest to you short-term bullish momentum. Then to exit. You're looking to exit on an uptrend, right? If you're taking this long. So consider taking profits, you know, when the RSI for that specific name on the time frame on which you're charting reaches that overbought territory, anything above 70, so to speak, on the relative strength index indicator there. Or if the price stalls at a key resistance level. So we're halted to the downside now on Newsmax. We opened up at about 23, we halted at about 23 and change. We opened up at about $30, and now we're halted down to $27. So right away, we can see, you know, for the moment, $30 at an area of technical resistance. And as we talk about oftentimes with these small cap gappers, halt levels often act as intraday levels of both support and resistance. So we have a resistance level at 30 on Newsmax, and we have a possible support level at 23 1/3, the previous halt level. The reason I'm talking about that is we're talking about exiting on an uptrend, right? Consider taking profits when the RSI reaches above 70, or when we get into a technical area of resistance. Case in point, possibly $30 on Newsmax. But you could also weasel entry on a downtrend, right? So you're looking, in this particular instance, you're looking for a price breakdown below a short-term moving average like the 10 EMA with increasing trading volume. You want to see that outsized volume bar on the break of that 10 EMA or whatever moving average you're using, okay? This will suggest you short-term bearish momentum. And then you could exit on the downtrend as well. Here, you consider taking profits when the RSI reaches that oversold territory. In other words, anything below that 30 print on the RSI scale, or if the price finds support at a key level like a previous low, like on Newsmax, that 23 2/3 previous area halt level, okay? So that's where you're charting. Support and resistance, obviously, here is kind of not as nuanced. You could say these price levels are previous areas of support and resistance. We all know what that is. So you're looking for price levels where the stock consistently finds support, these potential buying zones, or resistance, these potential selling zones. Active monitoring, though, is part and parcel of trading these very volatile IPO, SPACs, or DLs. You need constant vigilance. It's absolutely key. And you want to track live price action, track live news flows to see if anything's coming out that could change market sentiment. You want to keep your eye certainly on the order book, that level 2, as well as the time and sales, to gauge market sentiment and identify trading opportunities. If you keep seeing that buyer, I remember CoreWeave, we had a buyer at 38. There was about 8,000 lots on Friday, and that ended up being a great short-term support level. And that's where I got in a little bit above that $38 level on CoreWeave, and I wrote it up almost $1.50, maybe even a little bit more. So keep your eye on the level 2. If there's big boy buy signals at a particular level, you can try to use that big boy buy signal or that big buyer at that 38 level, for example, on CoreWeave, to backstop any price drop. It's not a perfect system. It just helps put the odds in your favor. The odds are that that big buyer prevents the price from dropping because they're buying aggressively at 38. It's not foolproof, okay? I just want to make that very clear. Discipline and risk management is very, very important when there's a lot of volatility, and I submit to you that there is with these SPACs, IPOs, and DLs. Small position sizing, if you're not used to these or if you're just getting acquainted, start with small percentage of your capital per trade, for example, 1 to 2%, to manage your risk, especially during the volatile periods like we are currently on Newsmax. Stop loss orders as well. Always have stop loss orders in place, whether mental or actual or like physical stops set on your computer to set a specific percentage below your entry price, like a 3 to 5% range, to limit potential losses if the price moves against you. And your profit targets. What we're doing this is to make money, so make sure you're sending out those orders to lock in those profits, because there's going to be a lot of volatility and you may not be quick with the key. So set realistic profit targets based on your analysis and market conditions. Don't get greedy. right? And miss out on potential gains. Aim for maybe, I mean, I shouldn't be telling you guys this, but personally, I'd be looking for 3 to 5% per entry and per exit there. Trading strategies, there's many different ones. Trend following. If a clear uptrend or downtrend has emerged on the SPAC or IPO or DL, trade in the direction of the momentum, buying on dips in the uptrends or selling rallies in a downtrend. There's also mean reversion. Shout out to my man Obi, who'll be on the rest of the week with you guys because I'm going on vacation. If the price deviates significantly from its recent averages, like support and resistance, anticipate a potential reversal and trade accordingly, like buy the dips or sell the rallies. And there's also scalping, right? You're executing multiple small trades throughout the day based on very short-term price movements identified by indicators like Bollinger Bands or MACD, whatever you want to use there. And then crafting a trading plan, just end the lesson here. A well-defined trading plan is your roadmap to success. Here's what it should include. The target asset. So specifically, you want to identify that IPO, that SPAC, or that DL, and then you want to conduct some TA, some technical analysis, if there one is warranted. Okay, so here we go. We just opened up again on Newsmax.
Ooh, damn.
Newsmax, bro. I can't get it right. Let's load it up. And we are defending for the moment that halt level. So that $26, $27 level for the moment getting defended. NMAX, excuse me. Here we go. So it's trying to defend this $27 level over here, but it did wick below it. Currently still a little bit above it. I'm looking at this area as kind of an important area as well, that $24, that 23 and 2/3 area. We'll have to see how that does. Just continuing on, so do your technical analysis. If there are any obvious areas of support and resistance after a decent amount of trading, keep your eye on risk management as well. Define your stop losses and profit target percentages per trade. Your trade size as well. Determine the percentage of your capital you're willing to allocate per trade. Monitoring tools. Specify the resources you'll use to track the price action, the news, and the market sentiment, and your trading schedule. Set a time limit for your daily trading activity. So you don't get wiped out of these trades. And we are, looks like, halted again to the upside with another high day, 30. Oh, no. Oh. Wow, that was a false halt, Joseph. Oh, man, this is getting wild here on Newsmax. 30.23, and we just dropped it there to 26, $4 in like a half second there. So needless to say, be very careful trading this. Last but not least, trading journal, something that Adara does very well, Joseph does very well, and I do very poorly. They aggressively journal, at least one person does. Commit to recording your trades, including entry and exit points, rationale for your trade and results. This helps analyze performance and refine your strategy, Joseph. Help everybody.
Yeah. Good look there. I like that you were pointing on that because I was thinking this earlier and I was watching some stuff. And I think the more detailed that you have the ability to create your stuff, then in the long run, you're going to be better off because you can just eliminate so much what's wrong within your trading. And yeah, it's something I want to get a little bit more detailed. So I was looking at some key specific points on what I should be really collecting from a data standpoint. So yeah. All right, guys. No, trust me, ADL, I'm going to go over it. And you want to know the honest truth, dude? I don't even look at X. I try to limit my social media intake on the weekends, right? Like just so spend time just doing other things like reading and just working on trading. So I try to eliminate that stuff because you know what it's like, Adam. You get into scroll mode. I hop onto X and it's like next thing you know, it's an hour and a half gone by.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah, exactly. Just pure doom scrolling. And the same thing with on Snapchat. So I just limit to here. I will go over that and that I promise. There is a nice signal here on AAPL for a potential short here, guys. You can see that bottoming, that topping tail candle right here. And now that we've cracked it to the downside. So hopefully this doesn't drag the overall market with it. It had, like what Sharif mentioned earlier too, is just it's in its own world. It's not necessarily moving in tandem with the market. It has been trading half decently here throughout the day with a high of 220, which is surprising here on AAPL. And one of the smaller tech names to kind of not gap down. You've seen what we had with the likes of Tesla and some of the other names in the market, but filled that gap and then now recovering a little bit more from Friday's session as well too. So that's a good look on AAPL. We're good. And that's kind of my thesis on the day. I'm happy with my positioning. So Skull, to answer your question, it's like, do you guys use support and resistance ascending and descending wedges? Yeah, trend lines and everything along those lines? Yeah, we do. And we don't always necessarily draw them, but we take mental notes, right? So you can see that I already had this in my mind. You can see the consistent higher low throughout the day. And then we have a resistance zone there as well. So if you want to see what we're exactly marking out and looking at, there we go. You can see that's a perfect example there, Skull, of an ascending wedge here. Is the TQs going to break out? I do believe that we can start to fill some of this gap, and that's my game plan on the session. That's why I'm still continuously holding on to this. What time did we get in there? At 10:30, and now it's 11:30. So I've been just sitting in this position for the better part of an hour here now, looking for this pre-market low to be broken. And if we can break that, then I think we can head into the highs and then start to fill some of that gap that we had occur this morning. So we're going to need some of the big names to continue to participate. I do believe that NVDA might get the ball rolling, and Amazon as well too. I like how Sharif mentioned that Meta was really, really strong this morning.
Yeah.
And for about like 45 minutes or so, a little bit longer than that, it didn't put in a red candle. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, about 35 minutes. But then you can see a healthy pullback here as well too, folks. So nice, strong work. And a lot of these names are kind of forming the same. They're identical in some ways. Price action pattern, you can see the consistent higher lows and then a flat top here. A nice whipsaw move, but we're all starting to compress and prices starting to compress. So if the TQs can break through this pre-market low, then I believe we can continue to climb a little bit higher. And that's why I decided to hold on to this position. Going to look for 55 for the next out and then wait for that until you can see the steam really start to dwindle and then the names start to curl over. But strong move for IBIT. It's unfortunate that we missed this. I seen the bottoming signal right here and I'm like, oh no, I was waiting for the pullback through VWAP, waiting for the hold of the zone and then looking to participate on that front, but we just never got it and it was continuously strong. So again, it sucks that we missed out on the trade, but then for the long term is really happy because this is obviously my largest holding. So okay, let's see what everybody else in the chat is up to. Are we sure there isn't some kind of sector rotation coming? Well, I mean, I think it's kind of already in the works, right? When you have tech down drastically and then you have XLP, the staples, holding up relatively well, not down compared to some of these big tech names. So the market is most definitely getting defensive and has been getting defensive for some time. Finch Trader says, great show, Shreve. Right on. I missed it. Did Shreve say there were his stop loss was on the current trade? I think someone asked in the chat.
On which one? I'm in a couple.
Yeah, Skull said, did Shreve say where his stop loss was for LCCT?
LCCT. I'm not. ICT. Yeah. Okay, great question there. So it is the break of the 11 a.m. prior bar low. So that takes us all the way down to 109. So I have it at 108. I've already wet the beak 3 times. Now I'm waiting at 24s and then at 28s. So this is going to be a 10 exponential moving average hold. I perceive this to be a possible bull flag. Now, you never really know on a market like this. You could think you see a bull flag and then you get slapped in the face and all of a sudden you're down nicely. So that we're going to keep Are you okay? Everybody all right? Sorry, guys. I didn't know my hand reached that far. You get that? All right. Sorry. I had to do that, Fabian. So I'm involved right now, ICCT beak here, but as you can see, it's zagging, anything below that $1.10, it's all over. So it's already, the stop's already in place there. Now I've gotten back into, I got into BYON. This is a good looking one. It's not the best percentage mover on the day, mind you. We're going to give this one the old college try. I've got my out through the break of 565, so it's going to have to hold prior bar low. But ICCT, back to this one. Sorry, I'm zigging and zagging between them. This one does concern me a little bit. So I see a compression pattern, and what that means is we're putting in higher lows, but at the same time, we're putting in lower highs, and that's fine. That's what we call a bull pennant. But it doesn't always manifest in the way that the textbook says it will. So the textbooks say most bull pennant, most bull flags will resolve in the direction of the trend. Well, you don't need to be a charter market technician to see that this is up on the day. Just look at the percentage. It's almost up 300. So typically it does resolve to the upside to take out that 132 level. That doesn't mean that bamboozlement can't come in the intervening period. So for example, it could break down below that 110, wick us below, and then move along its merry way back up to the high side to take out that high a day. So I am kind of concerned about the lower highs. It shows that the shorts are getting more aggressive in their position. Yes, I got to tell Brendo, yes, we are. Brendo just wants to know if we're, yes, we are. Let him know we are, if you don't mind, in the chat. He's just, Brendo asked us something in the chat. That's the situation here, but you can make the same argument that the buyers are becoming more aggressive as well, buying this a little bit higher and higher on every little retracement there. So that's the situation. That's my look on ICCT. I've already put in my stop as we dance near that 10 exponential moving average, Joseph.
Good stuff there, yeah. So, yeah, we got another out here on the TQs, guys. We'll be sure to keep you posted up with that IPO. No doubt about it. Street's already been covering it. But here we go, working really, really nice. Sorry, I got to get this out of my ear here real quick. Okay, so yeah, this is the look on the TQs, guys. We are now through that pre-market resistance zone and now climbing a little bit higher here through looking for that next level. So a nice trade here on the TQs, now north of 55, and that's what we want to see, especially when these big names are starting to participate. We can slowly climb higher, and you can see that we had multiple, it was identical patterns on multiple names here. So you can see this wedge starting to be formed here on Meta. We have the same thing here with NVDA. Very, very similar patterns, and then as well as the TQs. And it's a little bit choppy here, guys. Like you can see, before we hop onto the TQs again, you can see that this isn't the easiest type of price action here. We're holding some of these pre-market highs along those lines, and then we have a nice low a day established, but now we're just trading within this couple dollar range here, guys. So yeah, a nice up. You can fade the top of the resistance zone, buy support, and etc. So let's see what happens if we can continue to wave through this and then punch through and find a direction here later in the day. But I was talking to my buddy, I'm like, Greg. I'm like, Greg, I think I'm going to grab some NVDA around 95 if and when it does get there. So yeah, that's the name of the game. We're going to continue to hold on to the positions that are working. We're still negative on the session here. Let's see what the Qs are completely down. So half of what we got going on here, and now let's see what that is. And yeah, so 1 1/4 there on the TQ. So still negative, a lot of room to run. And I know people in the chat were asking me, hey, Joe, can Tesla go positive today? I mean, that was a hefty gap down, unfortunately. And to recover all of that, it's going to take quite a bit of a move. So it was holding up relatively strong. We were looking at Meta's chart earlier from a daily perspective as well, too. It cracked through some of these lows, and Amazon ended up breaking through one of these lows as well, too. So holding up here isn't too bad, down about 4.7% on the session. We'll zoom out and see what we got going on from the time frame. So there is still a lot of room to run, right? You can see that we're just running into resistance zones. And if we can break through them, that volume steps in, then I think there's going to be some room for recovery here. And I think that's going to be the overall game plan. Yeah, I mean, Sebastian, that's a hot take. NVIDIA 95, we may or may not get it. But at this pace, like we were trading around 120 throughout last week. And now we put in a low of around 103. Is that going to come into play? I don't know. It's still about a 10% drawdown roughly from where we're currently sitting at. So, but again, I'm just going to put out those orders. If they get filled, they get filled, and if they don't, then that's okay. I would like this stock to start moving well, and if NVIDIA is performing well, then I believe the overall market's going to as well continue to perform well. So that's that game plan. Let's see what we're up to on the TQs. We still have about 33% of this position left. Let me check here to be exact. So yeah, about that there, guys. So about 20% of this position here on the TQ. So going to hold this. I do believe that we can continue to climb. Are we going to go positive on the day? Maybe, but I think it's going to be a little bit more of a slower grind. The volatility is in full effect, having to sit through some of this, but you can see that buyers really start to step in and push it higher. So you just have to sit through this volatile market, widen those stops, and then those moves take a little bit longer considering there's so much ebbs and flows in the intraday price.
Absolutely. Joseph. Got stopped out of the remaining amount on ICCT. It kind of hammer candled right into the 20 exponential and then bounced right back up. So I'm back long 116 with a tighter stop this time. Let's see if it holds the 10 exponential this time. I don't know. I felt it might have been a specialist breakdown. We're going to give it another shot over here. So looking at wetting the beak at 122, anything below 110 stops me out. 110, excuse me, stops me out. BYON, we were able to wet the beak there, but I didn't get my ad on that, so I'm a little bit disappointed because I have a bit of a lighter position over here on BYON. It's not the biggest mover on the day, so I won't be taking a larger position on this because it's just not warranting one. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. Obviously, Newsmax is all the hype right now, guys. We're gonna keep an eye out on that for you, no question about it. Newsmax trades on the New York, by the way. It is a NYSE stock, and guess what? Halted again to the high side. It is up now 277.8%. It's a monster on the day. It looks like we opened up, guys, at $14. I didn't know anything about this IPO. I didn't know any of the details. Okay, I'm going to get stopped. I got stopped out again of ICCT. So that's it. That's I go 0 for 2, then I stopped trading it. So we didn't have any news on Newsmax. I'm just speaking for myself here. I don't know anybody else on the floor. So I didn't know what the IPO price was. I wasn't able to do all the homework that we did for the CoreWeave IPO that we did on Friday. So this one is, it looked like it opened up at 14, and now we are decidedly higher, halted 37.78. It's going to be really hard to give you any information on this other than, you know, some very superficial stuff. The amount of shares traded on the day so far, 2 million shares. Let's see if we're able to get the float or anything like that. I really doubt it, though, but we're going to give this one the old try. Nothing from Trade Ideas, so yeah, can't give you much on that. It's open again. The high day now $40, back down into 38. There is a halt level, guys, at 37.75. As we've talked about, the halt levels are wow, this thing rocketed up to 42. The halt levels act as intraday support and resistance areas, and they have so far today. 42.25, and then it drops down, Joseph, to 37.80. I am not touching this. This is just too much. Yeah, it looks like it was going to halt at 36. False halt there. Right back up to the high side on NMAX. It's got me breaking my desk over here, Joseph. Yeah. No, seriously, though. 42.25, guys. That is the high of the day. Here we go again. Excuse me. I'm incorrect. 43.12 now, the high of the day. But of course, we drop below 40. Now we're above 43. And again, it's a $3, $2.50 spread here, guys. That's a prohibitive spread to try to scalp with. So unless you're really, you know, sizing down very small, or you're going into the long-term look over here and you don't really care about the short-term price, watch out, man. You could get wiped out super quick on this. Be careful. We're going to cover it because it's a job to cover it, but that doesn't mean it's an endorsement to take it long or short just because we cover it, okay? So make sure you are using sound risk management skills here, Joseph, because this is a wild one, baby.
Yeah, wild. Dude, this is moving like one of your small caps here, Shreve, up over 300% on the day.
Unreal.
This is crazy. Opens up at 14, now trades to a high of around 44, and now continuing to climb higher here. Brother, this is wild. I hope that you guys absolutely have those risk measures in place. You can see these halt measures coming in, and then now just grinding higher. You don't want to be shorting this name on the way up. Be extremely patient here, guys, and wait for that. Make sure that you have those stops implemented, because Newsmax up 334% in a matter of what time did it open up at? 11 o'clock, so 40 minutes. That is a nice return. Hopefully no one's yellowed it. If you have yellowed it, then congratulations. Maybe you're set for retirement soon. But again, this is not something you would necessarily want to do. It is a pure gamble. Be patient, be cautious, and wait for things to cool down, because this can get really scary real quick, guys. So and you don't want any part of that. Shreve still climbing higher, 45.25. Oh my days, up to 46 here. I think this thing can really get into 50s, and if it does, that will be really exciting. But we'll continue to cover this for you guys. But back to the TQs, and I just talked about the ebbs and flows of higher volatility markets. A lot harder to sit through and be patient. That's why it's like, okay, size down just a little bit, guys. Widen those stops, and then give yourself the ability to just sit through these trades. So I'm happy to put on this TQs, and I do believe that we can continue to climb higher and higher. If there's anything you want us to go over here, guys, on the day, just put it in the chat. You know what we'll do. We'll go over it. I haven't even really looked at the options chain today. Who was it who's telling me about the VIX 22? Sorry that I forgot. I know I talked to you in the chat. Was it Sebastian? Was it you, Sebastian, who told me the VIX 22 with notionally it had a lot of volume there last week, but those have now expired. So we'll continue to monitor that. We'll take a look actually right now to see what the options chain is telling us, just from an open interest standpoint, to say, hey, this is where we might stop. This is where there's going to be some overhead resistance, and we're not going to go any farther than that. I do believe that NVDA can start to get the ball rolling. Tesla's starting to squeeze too, so lots of positive signs. 0 DTE. 468 may be in the works here, guys. That has the highest level of open interest. And then as you climb the ladder north of 468, then you can see that really start to pick up. So the path of least resistance may be to those levels, Sharif, around the mid 460s. And that's going to be a good sign here for all those bulls here in the market. It's going to be a grind. But again, the path of least resistance is definitely around 468, brother.
Agree with that. Shout out to my man Bovin. I'm gonna give Bovin the nickname of my second pair of eyes. Bovin,
Nice.
You're always calling out good stuff, my man, and I can't always be looking at the scanner. And I really do appreciate you calling out good names. You're getting better and better with your selection, Bovin. So shout out to you, my man. Bovin Patel, keep your eye out on his call-outs. He's got that blue circle with the B in his name. Good call-out there. VVPR, a holdover that we know from last week. It's light on volume today, Bovin. I mean, in the sense that it's only done, where is it at? 1.5 million shares on the day. It's a $4 name. It should be doing a little bit more. It's coming awfully close to that high of the day, so it's looking awfully bull flaggish. That higher low pattern is really getting my attention. So this is one that I don't mind weaseling into. Let's have a look at the 5. What's the situation? Oh, a lot of respect for the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart, or that's how I perceive it. A couple of wicks that do breach the 10, but look at that. All the closing prints strong enough to retrace and close above that 10 EMA. And if you're wondering what the 10 EMA is on my charts, it will always be that green solid line on my chart. So good look there. 428 high a day. We just weaseled into 422. So this one is in focus now, and it will likely replace one of these ones over here, likely Holo. So we're going to take off Holo. We're going to leave Holo on the side watch list, but it's going to lose its spot on the side chart. Number one, because it's below $1. It's at VWAP, but it's looking awfully flat bottom breakish here. So VVPR wins over and takes its spot on the coveted side charts. We're just going to throw in the ticker so we can follow along, or you guys can follow along a little bit easier there. So that's the look right now. VVPR setting up real well. I've weaseled into a new trade right now, though. Shout out to, I see you, Tisha. Tisha's been mentioning MLGO for a hot minute, and she's absolutely right. It's trying to fight back above VWAP right now. There's resistance, though, Tisha. I don't know how you feel at about 22.25, 22.5. Let's see if that gets taken out. I'm talking about MLGO. Shout out to Tisha Perkins. She's on that one. I weaseled into UMC. So this one kind of put in a whole bunch of lower lows, and then it kind of changed its tune. All of a sudden, we've got a higher low looking to take out that 750. So I've worked in here with a very tight stop based on the the area trough low. So I'm going to give it to like 7 1/3. I'm in at 741, so we're not risking a whole lot there. Looking for this one to bounce back up. We'll find out if it does or doesn't. A whole bunch of tug of war happening right now between buyers and sellers. And just to give you an idea, this one's done shares on the day. It's done well 31 2/3 million shares on the day, despite the fact that the volume is dropping off now, Joseph. So volume signature currently not that great. On the day, not that bad. Let's see which way this cookie crumbles. So keeping my eye out on that. Newsmax is a wild one, baby. We have yet another high of day. But this is very, very dangerous to trade right now, just given the spread. We've got a $1.75 spread right now, Adara. I don't know how you feel about that. Yeah, well, she's clapping. She's very excited about it because she's a great spread trader. But this one's too prohibitive for me, so I'm going to stay the hell away from it. 46.92 high a day. We're into 45 again. There's a seller here at 45 on Newsmax. And I saw people in the chat say Newsmax three times fast. And And I can't even say it one time fast, so I will not take up that challenge. But Newsmax, yeah, coming back into that high day. I'm still involved in BYON. Not a bad look so far. We keep putting in higher lows, but the volume displeases me on this one. We're going to wet the beak over here at the midpoint. Let's see if we can get that beak wet, just to de-risk a skosh. We've got yeah, we're keeping an eye on that one. ICCT, I swore up and down I wouldn't trade this again. Now it's starting to change its tune. It's kind of looking awfully bullpenned-ish at the moment with a couple of outlying prints to the downside. I need to see a bit more in terms of higher highs rather than just an equaling the high of the previous candle. So I'm going to stay clear from this one in a second. Tisha, I had it a full $1 ago and sold it for a small gain. Newsmax, too risky for me, LOL, and I probably should just close up and accept today. Look, Tish, I mean, you know, you're obviously an experienced trader. You do as you like. You obviously know exactly what you're doing over there. So we're just gonna support you in whatever decision you make. Shout out to Tisha. Eduardo, excuse me. Short Ford, 99.99. Yeah, you should probably leave that position on like in perpetuity. Just leave that short on.
Yeah, for like, yeah.
Ford.
For the long term.
What is this thing? Look at this thing, bro. Yeah. Can we flip to the monthly on this for a second here, just to show what kind of dead money this has been for years and years and years and years. Okay, guys, if you punched into Ford in 1982, when I was born, you're out of the money. Okay?
No way.
You're out of the money, Joseph, and we're not even talking about inflation adjusted. This I shouldn't say that because some people have it in their portfolio. This thing was $17 in 1982.
That's crazy.
Not inflation adjusted.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's a tough look, man. There's a reason why this thing's trading at 5p.
What's the divvy on it though? There has to be, like, what is the
divvy? It's a good divvy.
Yeah,
I think they 13 pennies. Right. They give an annual dividend of 13 pennies.
Oh,
an annual.
No way.
Yeah.
So like
Neil, and this is Ford. Look at this area over here, Neil, on the screen. This is 1982. No, Neil, that's 1981. That was $16. All right, so I've made my point. We don't need to crap on Ford anymore. I've made my point. The point is, be careful. Shout out to you. Good short on Ford. What do you got, Joseph?
Yeah, good stuff there, Sharif. And speaking of the car company, I know you're really into this, but one thing that I was just going over, I was just creating some notes over the weekend, and I found some interesting stuff considering we're talking about the vehicles. So these are rough estimates. I don't know how exact these numbers are, but approximately 16 million cars in America are bought each year, all right? So half of that are imported, okay? So the other half, the majority of the parts aren't even made in America. So what does that tell us? 20% of all cars purchased are only made in America, all right? So 19% of the engines are made in America. The rest come from Germany and Hungary. So you can see, and what I was referring to, and Sharif and I were talking about earlier, is that we're not really in the manufacturing aspect anymore. It's more assembly. You send us the parts, we'll put it together, and we'll send it, and we'll sell it. But again, I think that's what Donald is really trying to head back into, is he wants to become a manufacturer once again. And that is really good for, I guess, the cars here in North America, right? So now that the local manufacturers, domestic manufacturers, and car sellers don't have to worry about tariffs, and I think that's his ultimate goal. It sucks right now, but it could be really, really good for the long term, all right, guys? So that's just a couple of numbers here.
Can I give one piece of thing too?
Absolutely.
So Scott Bissett, he was on the All In podcast. Him and Howard Lutnick, both of them went on. Both of them kind of made their point. And one thing that Bissett said that really stuck with me, Joseph, and I was talking to you about this off camera, is like, okay, when we outsourced, and I'm talking about North America, when we outsourced our jobs initially to Asia, the idea was we had kind of moved beyond manufacturing, and we were now in the designing phase. We had kind of upgraded, we graduated, and we were going to give that to somebody else to do. What we didn't understand at the time that we understand better now is there's a major convergence between the design and the actual manufacturing. When you manufacture and you manufacture well, it seems to really help advance your designing skills. And so these people or the countries that we gave all the manufacturing to, all of a sudden, they're designing up a storm. And so we need to bring manufacturing back. There seems to be an interconnectedness between those two things. And that's something that obviously we wouldn't have been able to know unless it had happened.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And let's see what everybody else in the chat is saying. So yeah, Joseph, that would take years and years. It'll be very painful and expensive to return North America back to this. Absolutely, but I think that's the goal, right? You've seen how you have competitors with the likes of China. These people are producing cars for $15,000, $16,000, and they're brand new. Like you can't even think of that here, right? So that's the ultimate goal, is to just get back to manufacturing everything. You know what it was like in Michigan. It was the capital of the car manufacturing world, and then that just since dwindled. To add to Sharif's point, it's like, okay, now all these other countries are manufacturing, and that gives them the ability to advance quicker, right? We're just here assembling, right? So it doesn't necessarily help. So trying to get back to the origins, I think, would only benefit North America in the long run, all right? So, but yeah, back to these market here, guys. I think DG is doing, I mean, it's tough, right? Everybody says it's short-term pain, right? There's no doubt about it. There's no question about it. But you got to think that, like, okay, he's trying to make a business decision for the better of the country, even though we don't like it, we cover it. But if he's trying to create more jobs here, manufacturing auto parts, then that's just better for the American economy and even North America in general, all right? So I think that's just the game plan. But here we go. TQQ's continuing to climb, man. I told you this is going to be a slow grind. It's going to take some time in order for us to just recover all of that gap down that we had previously. So that's what we'll do. We have about less than 20% of this position left on here, and we're going to hold it for the day and see if we can just get that all-day trender. We're in from here in a nice positioning and slowly climbing higher. $1.34 in the money. We are on the TQs. Yeah, and let's see what everybody else in the chat is saying. Mean Green says, I think DJT's doing some very smart things. All right. Adam Blue says, fire Sharif. Absolutely. JCB Sports says you can't do it overnight without crashing the economy. There is going to be pain, but it's for the long run, right? He wouldn't just do that to only benefit himself. He's implementing tariffs to bring negotiations back to the table, to put things back in America's favor. That is his ultimate goal. As much as we don't like them, he wants America to be the beneficiary as much as possible. Let's see, why did
Joseph Tesla is breaking out?
Is it Tesla?
Yeah,
okay, we'll pull up Tesla here real quick. It's not moving too crazy, Sharif.
Okay. All right,
no, it's all right. Yeah. It is climbing higher, though, so looking pretty good. Still negative 3.7%. We'll take a 5-minute look here. The volume on the 5-minute time frame, Sharif, isn't picking up for breakup, but we are through those pre-market levels, which is really, really good here in this name, and it's good for the overall market, Sharif.
Yes, sir. All right, Andrew, calm down, bro. Calm down, Andrew. You don't have to get upset, Andrew. We can all have different opinions.
Where's Andrew?
Take it easy, Andrew.
Breathe.
Big deep breath, Andrew. It's Monday. Let it out. So in through the mouth, out through in through the nose, out through the mouth. Take it easy, Andrew. Calm down. All right, we're involved in 3 positions now. BYON, we're still waiting on that one for the next peak. We're at 80s. Let's see if the uptrend on this bad boy can continue. Yeah, every time I look at Newsmax, it's 59.49 now, guys. It's up a light 500%. Where was this on CoreWeave, bro? Yeah, we're still waiting for. We're still waiting to be able to execute on this one. We'll give this one a look shortly. New position. Shout out to my man Bovin VVPR. Got in at 12s. Just wet the beak there at 19s. Now waiting at 22s. It's showing me 20s on the book. So let's go ahead and wait a little bit higher for a possible execution there. That's what I'm looking at right now. UMC as well, still waiting for the print on this one. This one I'm not going to hold against me. Simple as that. This one loses that 735 area, and it looks like it might, then I'm out. Where am I long? I'm long 41, so we're risking 6 pennies. I just won't risk too much into this one. I'm not as convicted behind this one as I am behind some of the others. BYON, though. So despite the fact that I don't have too many prints on it, I've got a couple of prints. I'm a little ambitious on this one, and I hope I'm not jinxing it, because what I see here is one hell of a possible flat top break. I mean, we got that initial 588 high a day, was quite fleeting because we dropped below it pretty quickly there. But since that time, since that 1110 candle, it's been awfully respectful of these higher lows, but you're not necessarily getting aggressively higher highs. It feels like it is being kept down by a large seller. That's just my inclination here. The higher lows are more indicative of buyers becoming more exuberant on every successive move down, buying it at higher and higher levels. But the flat top is indicative of seller persistence. Like, no, we're not giving up. We're going to continue here. And as I say that, complain, bang, to the high side. We'll take the prints there. Now we're going to set up at 88s, Joseph. Shout out to my man, CD Lamb. Hopefully the Cowboys have a bit of a better season this year. I say that every year, and every year I'm disappointed. So we'll continue to watch and cheer for them for the said Cowboys. So BYON, not a bad look. VVPR. Hey, Fabian, I like you're good with it today, Fabian. I like it. VVPR, shout out to my man Bovin. Bovin brings the heat. All right, we got several prints there to the high side because of your boy Bovin. Now we're going to set up a little bit higher. Let's set up at 27s, see if we can get anything there. We're getting 24s here on the ask. Needs to cross, though, for us to keep going. So keeping my eye out on these ones. 3 positions here, Joseph. All doing okay, except UMC. Looking like poop.
Ooh, UMC. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right. Mabu, all right, just joined. Hello, everyone. Joseph, please walk me through your TQs trade. Yeah, anytime. So this was the thesis, right? You can see that we established a low here. I'll pull it up on my chart for you. So what the game plan was, we all know that the market gapped down. I was just looking for somewhat of a recovery and any signals of strength within the TQs or in the overall market, and especially in some of these bigger tech names. So essentially what I was looking for was some indecision prints at the lows or potentially higher lows formed. So I'll pull it up. You can see it a little bit more clear here. So this is the 5-minute time frame. You can see that we had a nice weak opening drive, but an indecision candle print at the lows, and we've already gapped down, so a nice form of resistance along these lines, and then it looked like we wanted to establish a low. And now I can build the thesis, okay, on the 5-minute time frame, once we break this, then I can use this as my potential low. That's going to be your stop loss. But let's see if we can recover and fill some of this gap. So this is going to be my target here on the TQs, which will put us around 56.47, and that's going to be the Friday's post-market lows, okay? So that's essentially the game plan. I'm not going to try to overcomplicate it or anything along those lines. I was looking for the bottom, considering that we've gapped down, and then I was waiting for any indecision prints along those lines that say, hey, that signify, hey, Joe, we're ready to turn around. And then obviously when you're trading the TQs, you want to monitor the Mag 7 because they're so heavily weighted, right? They equal about 33% of it roughly from a market cap standpoint. And that was just the game plan. So I waited for those bottoming signals, waited for that breakthrough view up, seeing nice consistent volume on the 5-minute time frame. And then I was like, okay, let me be a little bit patient here, wait for this pullback here through view up as I got stopped out. And then I was like, okay, now that we've established a higher low, it doesn't look like we're going to want to go any lower. Let me try a couple attempts on this ETF here, on the leverage ETF, and then we just go through having that being my stop. We came into it, and one thing that I wanted to note, and I noted, like I journaled this immediately, is that I just had it a little bit too tight. If I gave it a little bit more room, then I would have been able to add more aggressively into this position and then hold significantly more shares as we climbed higher. So that was just me waiting for indecision prints, waiting for those higher lows to be established, and then climbing higher with the price action, even though it has been somewhat choppy. But nice move here in Amazon. Full disclosure too, guys, I got stopped out of my Amazon swing trade for my calls. Once it broke that low from a daily standpoint, then my stop loss on the contract was triggered. And as you can tell, we bounced really nicely off of them, but we gapped down below it, and that's exactly where my stop was, right around 188 there, Sharif. So stopped out on that one, not worried about it because there might be some more downside, even though that does look like an indecision print as of now. But let's see what Adair's up to.
This Amazon strength here does actually have a little bit of a catalyst behind it. Apparently, CNBC just reporting here that Amazon has released a new AI model called Nova Act. Apparently, this model can take actions in a web browser on a user's behalf. So
Operator,
CNBC reporting
agentic.
here the
Nice.
launch of a new AI model by AMZN. Back to you.
Yeah, all the hype right now. Joseph, thank you for that. Adara, great reporting there. Yeah. Agentic AI, baby. Agentic. Agents basically doing stuff on your behalf because we're busy and we're doing other things. I'm doom scrolling right now. I cannot be looking for what what product is best for me. I need an agent to be able to do that for me. No, I'm being facetious, obviously, but that is where we're going this year. I think definitely agentic AI takes off before robotics. I think those are the two things we were kind of talking about to begin the year, Joseph. We were talking about that Jetson mini PC that Jensen put together, which has his mobile GPU for robotics. And then you have Raspberry Pi that's been obviously popular for a long time now that can carry these large language models. Locally. So it's really going to be super interesting for robotics, but I definitely think agentic AI takes off before that. That's just my opinion. No,
yeah, and that's what Vlad Tenev essentially.
Did he actually say that?
Yeah, with Hood, right? And the gold
That's,
gold
yeah,
package.
yeah, what am I saying?
But yeah,
of
the
course.
gold
Yeah,
package.
yeah,
Exactly.
good call on that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. What I think Joseph's referring to there, we got on. Was it Friday or Thursday?
Yeah, I think it was Thursday. I think it was
Thursday. Yeah. Vlad Tenev, the CEO of Hood, coming out saying basically he's going to be offering these like more expensive style, let's call them investment banking services like your JP Morgans and your Morgan Stanleys, but to to clients with smaller net worths. Essentially trying to target Gen Z and younger millennials, even normal millennials too, who might be priced out of the market for a lot of these investment banking products. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on that. Bhavin, my man, you're going to hear your name a lot today because you got me a great trade here on VVPR. I'm setting up now at 38s. It's showing me 34s here. It's up 10%. I feel good because I got bottom wick on this. And the only reason I got bottom wick is, number one, I'm lucky. Let's call that what it is, okay? Number two, I got it off the 10 exponential, but there was really no way for me to know surely that was going to be the bottom wick. So that's why I say it was a little bit lucky. But the point is to try to put as much luck on our side as possible by putting the stats on our side, the odds on our side. So waiting for that print at 38, Bhavin. I don't know if you're involved in VVPR right now. Let me know what your look is. I only got one beak water left, so I'm going to wait in the high 30s here. VVPR is the one I'm talking about. I stopped out for UMC for a 6-penny loss. Like I said I would. I was just not going to let this one go against me. So UMC is on my crap list right now. This one's doing well though. BYON, we're out of the majority of we are actually out of everything except one. So I'm waiting for double eights over here. 588 on BYON. This one did have resistance at that 575 area, 577. It broke through that. We didn't break through the high of the day, so waiting at 88s here means we either test or break the high of the day. We'll have to wait and see which way this cookie crumbles. I don't like anything right now in small cap gappers other than the ones that I just talked about. ICCT is on my crap list because I'm 0 for 2 on that. It's setting up decently. If you picked up ICCT off that 20 exponential moving average, you're killing it today. It's not a level that I earmarked for support, so I didn't execute anything off the 20. But as you can see, that yellow line on my chart, that is the 20 exponential moving average on the 5, and every single time it wicks into the 20, it's bought up. So there's been multiple wicks into the 20. Each and every single one has been bought up for now. Underline that for now. Newsmax, we have to cover this even though we're not trading it. 66, 67, Joseph. This thing opened up at $14. Everything makes sense. Everything is fine. No, but seriously, we can't give you a theoretical auction price on this because there isn't one. This is a NYSE stock, a New York Stock Exchange listed name. And these NYSE stocks, they don't give you the theoretical auction price like we get with the NASDAQ names. Neil, do we get it as well on the MX? Do we get TAP on MX? Okay, so Neil says you usually do get the tap on the AMX stocks, but they're not always accurate. So keep your eye on that. But as you can see there, if you're able to zoom in, 66.67 is showing in the area where the theoretical auction price is, and that is actually the halt price there. So what we'll show, thank you, Fabian, for that. I appreciate it, my man. So that tap right there, as you can see, TAP stands for theoretical auction price, and it is basically the same price as the halt price. So we're not going to be able to give you the tap on that. The reason I remembered that is because somebody asked for the tap in the chat, and I wasn't able to give them that. So I wanted to mention that to everybody else. So don't anticipate getting the tap there. So that's what I'm looking at right now. 1320 Wolf, contact your cable provider. They're going to be bankrupt in a few years. No, I shouldn't say that. The thing is, here's the deal. I had a friend of mine on the weekend, and I love this guy. You know, he's not really a stock market guy, but he's a great business person. He throws his money obviously every month into the market. Sometimes he buys indexes, sometimes buys specific names. And he was telling me, he's like, man, AT&T is a great name. They pay a hell of a dividend. And then I was just like, do I tell him, or do I let him, you know? Right? No, what I really wanted to tell him was, brother, you know, what they rely on right now are two technologies that could theoretically be on their way out. So cable, we know about the cable cutting, and we know about people wanting to subscribe directly to services. Obviously, AT&T involved in that, but they're also involved in cell phones. And I don't know how long we continue to use a regular tower cell phone service. It doesn't have to be 5G, it could be any technology, but tower-based, terrestrial-based cell phone service. Do we upgrade to that kind of Starlink style in the future? So is it a technology that's on the way out rather than growing? I don't know, but it's not something that I want to invest in, and I want to give him that little tidbit information. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. You guys think we get the satellite cell phone service a lot faster than what, you know, maybe some people are thinking, or do we continue to hang out with these terrestrial-based towers for a long time? A lot of different plays in that too. A lot of REITs, like American Tower, for example, they buy up land and they put up cell phone towers and rent them out to some of these telecom companies. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. But we'll get back to that topic once we get back from Madeira with Happening Now and Neil's lesson of the day.
S&P 500 in a beautiful uptrend here from the lows, higher highs, higher lows throughout here. Still down, though, about 0.4% on the day. As for the NASDAQ, it's down more than 1% on the day, but making a similar recovery pattern to the S&P 500. One of the biggest things of the day here on watch is NMAX. That is the Newsmax IPO, priced at $10, opened around $14, trading above $50, well above $50 last time I looked at that one here. HMST on watch as well. This is a smaller cap play I'm just seeing populate right now here in terms of being on watch here with my scanner. About 1.5 million shares traded on the day for Home Street. S&P 500 price target outlook being slashed by Goldman Sachs. Goldman also saying they now price in recession a little bit more likely. Let's take a look here at TSLA. This name actually still red on the day, but recovering nicely, much like the rest of the market, getting a little bit of a drop, though, in the last few minutes. Then we have here HUT. This is probably the weakest of the crypto tickers. Initially, though, the strongest of the crypto tickers, announcing their American Bitcoin launch here, backed in part by Donald Trump's sons, Eric and Donald Jr. So keep an eye here on HUT. MSTR, for the record, near day's highs, but only marginally green on the day. But before we send you back to those Bash Brothers, we're going to take the time to look at Neil and his lesson of the day. Take it away, Neil.
Welcome to the lesson of the day, everybody, which is, if you like IPOs, trade IPOs. Oh, Newsmax. And look, you have to stick within your battle plan of stocks that you're comfortable with, no questions asked. But Newsmax is absolutely insane. What I would say for this, and this isn't going to be the topic of the lesson of the day, but what I would say for this is you always have to be careful chasing illiquid names, but there are times where you might get a little something of a somewhat reasonable entry. I'm talking for people that like this kind of like small capper stock. You're willing to risk 10, 15% to try to get a double up, or 30 to 40 to 50%. And usually that occurs when you trap a few shorts on a 3-minute, a couple of halts up, and it does this little bit of a pullback looking like it's going to fail, regains the bid, and then breaks out this kind of prior high like 29. And what at least you have with this is it doesn't halt in that couple of minutes. A 3-minute chart gives you like 5-6 minutes of action. And you can risk like I said, 10 to 15% if it breaks that low. The tricky part about that is, well, then what's your plan for getting out? But I think unless you're in it early or find something early where it traps shorts in a reasonable range, and it's hard to say reasonable when it's doubled up, that's the key. You have to find something that sets up for you, at least in that particular case. Some people or most people are probably willing to, on smaller cap or low float names, squeeze names, risk 10 to 15%, get 30, 40, 50, and then maybe even a double up. But if you're chasing it like 50, 40s, and 50s, that's a lot trickier to find yourself into reasonable trading options. Now, what I really wanted to focus on today is identifying when you have your top ideas, like what you can stay with and what you got to get away from. I think it's all well and good to be like, oh, everything was gap down, you prefer shorts, great, but then what do you do when things start getting away? Now, I'm in, well, yeah, I just looked over as if we were on the Midday show. I'm in Intel and Mara right now, but I'm not in Amazon, and Amazon was the one I wanted the most. Amazon was the setup that I liked the best. Short, underneath 190, it's still underneath 190, but I'm not shorted anymore. I was looking for continuation under a flat bottom, continuation of trend after the break. And all that happened was, wasn't in it at the beginning. Your best chances were to be sitting short during the pre-market, which is not usually my style. So when I don't get this flush right at the open, you short VWAP a couple of times, kind of mild success, and then eventually it just breaks away. And the level of patience required now is super high because it's still underneath 190, but it's trending up into that level. So I'm just sitting here waiting for it to get up to that 190 level, maybe challenge that pre-market high, and then look for reversion. But you could love the stock short and then be fighting it every single time it makes a crest. Now the difference, I would venture to say, in Intel is I did wait for Intel to fill in the gap and then short into VWAP. And now all of a sudden, while the market's higher, like why are we back into Intel? Well, the market's at the top, as you can see, the NASDAQ making higher lows right into resistance. And Intel holds the prior support, trends back in, and is now breaking down into VWAP. Now, obviously, you can see I've drawn a trend line from the top. If this holds VWAP and breaks out here, I can get out and wait for the highs again. But at least it's showing me relative strength. So it's a stock that I'm not getting away from. You know, I'm not pulling this chart and putting something else up. I'm sort of focused on it. And then we liked Mara. Now Mara is a little trickier, but like Intel, it's still holding the bottom of the range. You know, the reasons I like this, outside of the obvious, we liked it short, it broke $12, it's still underneath $12 on the daily, it's still underneath the pre-market lows, and it's showing you resistance at the pre-market lows. That's all well and good. But here's the other thing it's doing. When we showed Intel relative to the futures, okay, that matters. But Mara relative to Bitcoin, this is the real reason that I want to stick with this. Because Bitcoin is much stronger of a chart here. And when I see Mara still holding out that relative weakness, especially in the midst of Bitcoin strength, that's why those are the two names I'm still in. And you've got to be able to, you know, if you can favor shorts all you want, but you've got to understand the difference between, oh, I like the short, it's still kind of valid, but it's nowhere near a setup for that I like, and that'll be Amazon, and then the difference between Intel and Mara right now, which is making a heck of a lot of sense. And just for everybody out there, Newsmax halted to the downside at $62, yeah, $62.27 with a 62 tap. So headed back in, it seems, could be Newsmax. Look, it would not surprise me if this gets all the way to VWAP. It would not surprise me if it got to $100. I didn't pay for locates on here. They were like $24 for 100 shares. So I don't know. I felt like your chance, like maybe 75s would have been good, but I just didn't want any part of this one short. Be careful trading it, but there's a lot of opportunity to be had, I think, in these, if you get them early. There's a lot of opportunity to be had in the market, even if you're biased the wrong way, to find the setups that are still valid, because there's always something which is still setting up for you. So there's your lesson of the day. Know when your best ideas are blown out, and you got to get away from them, like Amazon, and the ones that are still maintaining, like Intel, like Mara, that you can stay in, because they're still showing you the goods. It just requires some patience. Good luck, everybody.
That one, Neil, as always, my friend, good look there and great lesson. Yes, so yeah, Newsmax, absolutely insane, guys. Up 522% here on the day. excuse me, and then now halted to the downside. So be careful. Go really, really small, 522%. And I know people are saying, oh, I should have bought it at 14. We all would have liked to grab it at 14, but unfortunately that's not the case. And then, yeah, Ryan Phillip, send me your trade. You can hit me up on X there, at TraderTV Joseph, and you can send me your trade on the day there, Ryan Phillip, because we have been trading the TQs, and that has been our strongest position on the session. I know Stevenson said he was trading NVDA and got stopped out now looking for 107. It may still be in the works, but I think it's going to be more of a slower grind. But really nice work here on the TQs. I only have one more out, and just going to hold this until we make it construct a new high, and that's the game plan there. So you can see that we have these continuous higher lows, nice strong trend. If there was an EMA along those lines, the 9 EMA, we'd be hugging that nice, and the 20 as well too. So there you go. Maybe we get this pull back to the volume weighted average price as Apple, Amazon, and NVDA are starting to pull back in. It's unfortunate that the price action on NVDA hasn't been as orderly as some of the other Mag 7 names. You can see that we've been trading in this $2.5, $3 range throughout the majority of the session, and we had the inability to crack through this previous pivot high here there, guys. So just keep an eye out for that. The name's weak for a reason. Can it get the ball rolling? Absolutely. We're still negative 4.1% on the day, closer to 4.2. But it just might need some more liquidity. I would look for these higher lows to continuously hold, and then you can base a trade off of that. So if we crack it to the downside, then people are prepared for the back end of this trade, and then you can go and head to the low of days. But you can see as we're pulling back right now, that volume is really, really starting to fall off. So that's a positive sign that buyers may step in, and then you can see this name turn around and break through some key resistance levels there. So yeah, if there's anything you guys want me to go over, Sharif and I were just looking at the options chain on AAPL. It has been one of the better traders on the session, and you can see that we are now north of 222, and there's a little bit of open interest there, about 8.7 thousand open contracts, so just under 9. But you can see that the next level, if you guys have your chain available, that 222.50 is that next level with about 13 to 14,000 open contracts. So a little bit more than what we see at 222. So we might break through that resistance zone and then look for that next step. On the 0 DTE, in the Qs here as well, guys, is 468. We are starting to pull back. We rejected 465, so 468 may be a little bit tougher of a look here on the session in the Qs there. Sorry, guys, considering that we have gapped down. But if we do break through some of these resistance zones, that's going to put us right above this pre-market high or this post-market high here, guys. And then I think we would look for a rejection or even around the lows. But we have entered the gap, and you can see that almost to a penny here, Sharif, we have rejected that gap here on the TQ. So let's see if we can grab some more liquidity, hold the volume weighted average price, volume starts to pick up, and then you can start to enter this gap, because I do believe that at some point it will get full. Jay Anthony, do I use anchored VWAP? No, I don't use anchored VWAP. Obi and I believe Adara uses Anchor VWAP, and I believe the guys to the right of us do as well. So you want to look for, I think, big days. So like you want to look for earnings day low, etc. Those types of levels. I'm not familiar with using it, but where you anchor it is very, very key, because if you just put it anywhere on the chart, then it's just like, okay, that's totally subjective and it's not necessarily going to work. That means everybody would have different levels, and that's not necessarily what you want to go off when utilizing the volume weighted average price. And I think that's why it's one of the more common indicators, is because we're getting that data from 4 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever your broker opens, and then you continuously use it, and it's all the same number, and that's why I believe it's more popular. What's up with the huge volume candle at AMD just a minute ago?
I looked. I didn't see it, Joseph.
You didn't see that?
Yeah, let me know if you see one. I didn't see it.
On what time? I see on the 5-minute. I don't see anything there, Sharif, on the 5-minute. We can always zoom in. Yeah, there's nothing that stands out to me and it says, hey, where's that isolated signature? Just a minute ago. Yeah, I don't see anything. This all seems relatively flat and normal compared to what we have been printing. There's nothing that is isolated or stands out and be like, whoa, you need to take a look at that isolated signature or a volume signature. I don't see anything outsized there on that front. Okay, guys, let's see what else we got.
Can I cover something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because one's breaking out. Bovin, bro, we're going to need you to come over to the studio over here and sit like around. Because everything you call out, Bovin, is absolute money, my guy. Look, here it is. We got into this trade. This is the second trade we got in because of Bovin. again, man. Straight up, this is it. I mean, he is responsible for these trades. So I got in here 04s on CTXR, and here we go into the quarter dollar. This is my last out. It's showing me 25s on the ask, and boom, there it is. We take out 25. Quick as you like, Joseph, 20 pennies on a $2 name, just like that. All because of your boy Bovin there. He called it out. Here's what I saw, Bovin. I don't know how you traded this, but I saw $2 area support, and it cleared $2 by some distance, weaseling to 16, came back in and tested 2. I liked what I saw. I punched in at 04s, and boom goes the freaking dynamite. Freaking laser. I need to watch on the weekend, bro, or on my vacay coming up. But yeah, shout out to Mike Myers. All right, so there we go. We got a 228 high a day. So this one is not done yet. I'm talking about CTXR. It's on the NQ. It's up 45% today. Good midday movie here above it. I mean, there's the volume really just started coming in. I want to say around 11:20, 11:25. So shout out to my guy right there. Always calling out the right stuff. We're done this trade, but we're going to look to get more in on it if it comes back in and comes into that 210 area. Bovin has it from a $1.85, so my man is printing up a storm on that side, and we're going to shout him out for that. Shout out to Bovin Patel. Good look there. So that one we're already done on, quick as you like, this trade. So like right back to VVPR now. Now this is back at the 10 exponential. Another trade that Bovin gave us. We're long here at 12s. We went the beak all the way up into 27s. Now I'm waiting at the lofty area of 38. This one did come up to 35, but was met with some selling. Now it's back at the 10 exponential moving average at the quarter dollar. I'm talking about 4 1/4 right now on VVPR. This is a lot slower of a mover, Katina, man, than that CTXR one, but putting in a good chart pattern nonetheless. I'm talking about VVPR up 8 and change, but give him back a little bit now. The other one that we're involved in, BYON, where's it at? Show me here. Okay, so this one continuing to put in that higher low pattern, but not really a higher high situation. We saw this story before. What am I talking about? So we saw this on the one where it was putting in, I'm talking about BYON, it was putting incrementally higher lows, albeit very slowly. Wasn't really able to clear 577 for whatever reason. There was a bit of a seller at that 577, 578 level, and we had rejected it multiple times. Now we're kind of doing that same dance in the sense that we're putting in incrementally higher lows, but there seems to be a seller at 84 or 85. Can't really tell right now. I have to watch it a bit more. I wasn't watching it at those price levels in order to tell you where the hidden seller is, because nothing's really posted here, as you can see on the level 2. You know, you got a couple of, you got 20 lots sitting over here on Edge X, and they're already getting eaten up. Here comes 85 again, so now we can observe this a bit more clearly. The high of the day is 88. It looks like we're taking out the size there on BYON at 85s. Let's see if we're able to get anything on a legitimate print into 86. None have happened since that spike. I want to say that spike happened at 11 o'clock exactly. So we haven't printed anything above 85s since 11 o'clock, but we are showing 85s here on the ask. So for all intents and purposes, we are, you know, not technically at the high of the day, but realistically we are. Let's see if we're able to break above that level, and by extension of that, take out 10% and get into double-digit territory there. So that's my look right now. VVPR, though, it's kind of like not a make or break, that's incorrect. It's a decision time for me. And the reason I say that about VVPR is because if I'm gonna add into this trade, here should be the time. And here's why I say that. 10 exponential defend. 10 exponential defend, and then it comes back in. You guessed it, it's at the 10 exponential. So if I want to add here, if my bias is that VVPR continues to put in those higher highs and higher lows, and it's destined to take out that 4 1/3, 435 technically, then I need to be getting in here. This is the level. I'm doing it. What are you doing, Joseph?
Yeah, good look there, my friend. I'm just looking at Amazon from the daily standpoint here. I really like this. I'm starting to like this more. I did get stopped out, but as you can see, we break through some key support levels, and now putting this indecision print. And if we can close fully as a hammer, I might take a second swing at that. It's unfortunate that I bought those calls in here and I didn't sell up here like I said I was going to. So that's okay. You take the stop out, and then now if we close above this, I am going going to take a second entry on that. Full disclosure, I do like the TQs as a potential add here as well, Sharif. We're holding on to a small amount of this position, but we've been riding this all the way since 10:30 here. So nice look here on the TQs. I might have missed that train as we go and test the high a day here. Again, that add would have been right there, but we'll wait for a pullback. If we break through, you can see that we have some nice support levels at that specific level, 54.82 to be exact, and then now we bounced right off of it and then climbing higher and higher. Yeah, I mean, see, the thing is though, Dom, what I was looking at this morning and I was like, oh no, the gap down wasn't good, but when you have such a significant gap down, I was like, okay, that potential of filling some of that gap is there, and just be prepared in order to, if that displays itself, to do so, right? Take that trade, and if it doesn't work, and if you get that kind of gap and go strategy where it gaps down and then you continue to the downside, then follow the price action in that aspect. But here, we're starting to fill some of this gap, and I do believe that the TQs are going to start to participate on that front as well. So yeah, that's the game plan. Going to wait for another pullback. You can see we now ran through the support zone and the resistance. If we get that pullback into 55s, then we're going to add to this position, because I do believe that it's going to be more of a slow grind. We're going to recover that gap. We're going to fill it, but it's going to take some time, and you're going to see that the ebbs and flows within the intraday volatility, that, okay, we need to grab some more liquidity, climb a little higher, establish a new high, grab some more, and it's just the breathing of these stocks. All right, guys? So GameStop, what's GameStop doing? Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at GME for you guys real quick. Oh, wow, putting in a pretty decent day here, Sharif, is GME. Oh. But again, I know the boys were talking about this. It's just not a name that I would want to be a part of. I know that, so again, they put Bitcoin in the treasury, and then the next day, as Katina Man saying, it's like a $1.something billion share offering. It's like, you don't.
That ain't the move.
Yeah, it's not the move. Not necessarily something that you want to be doing. Again, we were talking about Ford, and GameStop is just going to fall in that same realm. I'm not trying to compare apples to oranges here, but it's just a stock that I would not want to be invested in for the long term. I just don't think it's there, and I don't think GameStop is going to be the savior of this company, nor is trading cards. Unfortunately, I don't like to be the bad news. But
and Fabian gave us the 411 on that, and like,
there's a market for it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a market for it.
And I can't speak for you, but I can just speak for myself. I didn't know it was that big. Like, I didn't know that the trading market could, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna save the stock at the end of it. Trading cards, you know, it's a big market, but it's not big enough to save what it has going on.
You feel like they're just trying to catch a tailwind. I get the feeling they're just trying to find their identity a little bit.
Try to get back in the meme craze and
well, you go.
Those squeezes and stuff.
Brick and mortar is dying, he says in there. You're absolutely right, Fabian. I mean, think about it. The overhead costs, my man, for selling a game online where the game lives on a server, as opposed to you having to rent out an entire store, pay people, furnish it, electricity, this, that, and the other. Of course, it's a different world. So your point is very well taken. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, not.
I haven't had I haven't had a gaming system since PS2, Fabian. So that should answer your question,
right? And I'm since PS4, and PS4 was released in like 2014 or something along those lines, right? And even at that time, I never bought a physical copy. Just to add to Fabian's point, like, everybody just buys them online now. You download it online. There's essentially no need. If you want older copies, vintage stuff, but I don't think it's enough to support the company going ahead.
One thing that he scares him, he says, you don't own the license to that. But Fabian, aren't you allowed to buy the game directly from like the download or the app store or whatever like that? Yeah. You buy a license, not the game, so they can take the license away from you. Is that how it works?
Okay, so is that how you get banned from the game and stuff?
I mean, they can revoke. I see.
There you go.
So you don't have a physical copy of the game. But hold on, question for you, because I'm not going to know the answer to this. Once you download the game, can you store it so that you have it physically, like on an external drive, anything like that, Fabian?
If the game is old enough, yeah, you can totally run it offline, and you don't have to ever worry about a license. But if it has online services, you're kind of screwed.
You can't then. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Good to know. Good to know, because I don't know anything about this. I do appreciate that. Just let me know when we got to pay that bill. I'm ready for it.
For sure. what was I going to, okay, yeah, so I was going to double check when is Tesla, I believe Tesla deliveries this Wednesday. Sharif, if I'm not wrong, I'm going to double check.
Tesla? Wednesday. Wednesday we're expecting deliveries.
Yeah. Okay, so there we go. Yep. Wednesday, Tesla deliveries. And someone was asking me what can happen with that stock in the chat. I don't know. We just have to wait and see. Is he going to beat? Is he going to come lower than expectations? And if he does, I believe we're going to see a hefty haircut in this name. So just be wary. If you want to swing it going into the deliveries report, just understand, just put a stop in place, monitor that price action to a T, because it's not going to be good if they miss on those estimates. All right, guys. So yes, but don't legally own digital content. They can take it back at any time. There you go. What a GME did, 1.3 billion convertible notes. Yeah, convertible senior notes, and we're going to pay some bills here, guys.
Sir, trade the pool, guys. Every trader knows that if you want to grow, you have to risk more. At least that's how it used to be. Trade the pool is changing that. Starting at $47, you get a real shot at trading with up to $200,000 in company capital, while your risk stays capped at that one-time evaluation fee. You don't need a large deposit. You don't need years of experience. This is a limited risk trading platform built for any trader who wants to grow without putting everything on the line, just a small skin in the game, and you're trading with real capital. Here's how it works. You pay a one-time evaluation fee starting at $47. That's your total risk. From there, you trade real shares, not CFDs, using the company's capital. So head on over to tradethepool.com and start your trading journey today. Adara, what is going on up there?
I think it's worth noting to keep an eye on Amazon. We've had a couple different announcements with regards to AMZ, and or at least reports here, and their AI. So first off here, we did have a report coming in from CNBC. Amazon rolling out a new powerful AI tool called Nova Act. Apparently, it lets AI agents take actions in the web browser for you. It's going to be part of their new model here called the Nova family. Apparently, this is also available to look at on their website. Now, we're also hearing apparently Alexa Plus has now launched an early access. So Amazon's Alexa Plus, apparently with an early access launch. AMZN on watch here with lots of AI developments. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. Guys, just to touch back here on AMZ, and one more time, you can see that we have gap down, and then now putting in this hammer candle, so you could potentially play. Let's see how we open up tomorrow, and then you can play this little gap, and this might be a bottom here as well, too, Street, because we are down at that low 25%. On a haircut in AMZN. So really, really tough look on that one. But here we go, guys, starting to climb higher. Going to go and test this high day here on the TQs. Let's see if we can catch that fill. We're going to post up at 55.70 and be patient and wait for that fill to come in to play Sharif.
Absolutely. Okay, so BYON took out 85s. This is the first time it's done that since I mentioned at 11 a.m. when we got that big boy high of the day spike. So here we go. We're at 88s now. That's where I'm waiting. I'm waiting at 88s. It has to cross for me to get printed. It's 86 on the bid, 88 on the ask. I got to imagine that I'm one of the first in priority here because I've been waiting at 88 since I basically got into the trade. So my assumption is that I should be getting filled, but I'm not going to flatten out. I just won't do it. I'd rather get stopped out than flatten out. I'm exercising patience today. That's the name of the game, and we're going to see what we get there, and we won't get upset. VVPR got stopped out of that. I added to this one. I moved up my stop, and I completely botched this one. Just full disclosure, I didn't trade this properly on the ad. That is, for whatever reason, I had an outstanding stop, like 2 pennies lower than my entry, and I came to enter the stop, and it was like, you don't have any shares. I was like, what? What's happening over here? And so I did get stopped out of this one accidentally. VVPR. We're still positive on it, but I executed poorly on the addition. So I'm going to continue to watch this one. If it wants to hold up above the 20, right now it's the first time we've got a closing print on the 5-minute chart below the 10 exponential moving average. That's the first time essentially on the day since taking that level at about 10:25 a.m. So if we lose that level, I don't want any smoke. Let's keep an eye on that. Still waiting here on BYON for a print at 88. Nothing forthcoming. This one, though, ICCT. So we initially did well on ICCT, then got back in on the ad, and then I got stopped out. So we're technically negative on this one. Now, here's the deal. It put in a hell of a double top at, say, that $1.30 or wherever you kind of gauge that. I see a high of the day of 132, but most of the prints do reject that 130. We lose the neckline at about 105, 106. I'm talking about the price, not the time. And now we're doing our darndest to stay above $1. We did wick down into about 95 pennies, but we're right back above $1 at about 102, 103. So this one didn't quite make it down into VWAP. VWAP's at 90 pennies. The reason that's interesting to me is because I have a trade on these small cap gappers that it's a VWAP retracement, right? And this one didn't quite make it down. So I'm trying to gauge whether or not this is just yet another higher low. Sorry, another lower high, excuse me, on the chart that I really shouldn't be trying to trade off. So my view of this is area crest, and then another lower high over here. So I am kind of concerned punching into here. You know, you're kind of getting ahead of yourself, you know, above that 90 penny area. So if algo is going to trade this off VWAP, well, the buy orders are waiting at 90 or so one would think. But the other side to that coin is there's that dollar level that you need to account for, which is a different bag of, or it's a different situation. You always hear me say it's a different trade north and south of that dollar. And so being at the dollar presents a bit of a dichotomy. I mean, are we looking long or are we looking short? So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now on ICCT. I'm 0 for 2 on it in the sense that, you know, I didn't execute to my fullest potential on the first trade, and then the second trade ended up getting me stopped out. So I don't know. I'm going to pack my patience. If I can see a few higher highs to kind of just get me feeling that maybe the longs are in control, then we can talk. But at the moment, I'm not feeling it all that much. We got the print on BYON, so more pleased I could not be. So we took out 88, so I packed my patience. I'm very pleased about that. But now we're all out of shares, and we've got no trades on. So I'm in no trades at the moment, guys. Done the trade on VVPR, done the trade on BYON. Let's look at CTXR, that one that Bovin called out. Was a hell of a one right there. Where is it at? There it is. No, that's not the one, Joseph. There it is. Nice. CTXR. So this one, for the most part, you're getting prints. All the closing prints are a skosh above that 10 EMA. And this one's shown you its propensity to stair step. And what do I mean by stair step? Well, it's when the previous area resistance acts as the next area's area of support. Does that make sense? Let me give you a visual. So look at this. Look at these prints over here from 10:10 a.m. till about 11:10. So an hour worth of prints. Every single print rejects that 180. So you know you have a 180 top. Okay? So let's earmark that 180. Now let's look after 11:10 a.m. from 11:10 to 12 o'clock. So another almost hour. Surprise, freaking surprise. That 180 all of a sudden has now acted as support, okay? So let's go ahead and even go further. From 11:10 to 12:10 or to 12. What's the area top? So we know what the area bottom is. That's $1.80, right? What's the area top? Well, $2. Okay. So then from 12 to current, 12:30, look where we're bouncing off. $2. So it's stair stepping in the sense that the top of every step acts as the next step's bottom. You see what I'm saying by that? Like area top, area top.
Very well said.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah, very well said.
So this is interesting here on CTXR in the sense that let me use that to my advantage. So I like anything in the low twos. That's what I'm trying to say ineloquently here. So let's go ahead if it allows us to, because it's getting away right now. It looks like it's breaking back up into that 2.25. So I'm gonna throw it in order, guys. We're gonna sit at 205 because 5 is one of my favorite numbers, and we're gonna throw that bad boy out there. If we get a print, we get a print. We don't, we don't. That's fine. Okay. So 205. I'm waiting over here now. If we clear that 228 and say maybe go to 250, 245, then I'll be looking at 2.25 as that area support. Because we've seen this story before where we kind of range from the top and the bottom side within an established price range and then use that subsequent. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at CTXR. If I can get something in on this one, I like the look of this one's jib, Joseph.
Yeah, good look there, brother, and good timing because NVDA is really starting to break out here. You can see the volume really start to kick up here on the 1 minute time frame, and I took a little bit of a scalp on it as we broke through some of these key resistance zones, and then I got stopped out break even, and I thought that we would come and test this resistance right here around 10.55, and I was going to get right back in, but the price just turned right back around, and I didn't have the opportunity to, and I didn't want to chase it, but that volume is going to support this move. I have enough conviction and confidence that we can continue to climb higher in NVDA, especially because that volume is there. You can see it on the lower time frames and then slowly starting to pick up on the higher time frames as well too. So that's really unfortunate that we got stopped out. Break even on that trade as we go and test 106. I should have held on, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but it would have been nice if I held on to it for a little bit longer, waited for that retest of the resistance zones, and then I would have been able to take part in some of this trade. But Stevenson, my guy, says nice trade on the TQs. Thank you very much. We are all out of the TQs here today, guys. So a nice trade on that one. You can see we're in right here. Well, first trade right here, stopped out, break even. Then we got stopped out, entered again, and then climbed throughout this whole trend. So that was a really, really nice trade here on the TQs, all out of that one there. And that's when I was eyeing NVDA. I did believe, I seen that volume. We were forming that wedge. We sat on the other side of the, on the top side of this downtrend line. Let me zoom out and display it to you guys so you can see it a little bit more clear. So what I had established here was from this pre-market level all to where we were currently sitting out in that breakout zone, and then we sat on top of that range, and that volume really stepped in. So that can give you more conviction within a breakout trade. That's what you want to be able to identify when you are playing the break through certain resistance zones. Is you need that support and resistance. You need that volume to step in whichever direction you are going in. So of course I got right back in when we couldn't break the 200 period. Let's see if we can fill the gap. Yeah, and I think you're going to be sitting pretty good. You had that stop in place there, Stevenson. So if you got right back in, I think you're going to be sitting pretty on that position. And I do believe that 107 may be in the works for today. It's not too far off. We're still negative 3.3%. So just keep that in mind. X-Banes, what's up with Apple? One would think it would be the hardest hit because of the tariffs. Well, there's a lot going on with Apple. I mentioned before there's loopholes that they can use with the iPhone to kind of just subsidize some of that tariff effect. One thing that I was referring to is just kind of how Google and them are, like Google pays them to be their primary search engine, and that works up to be about 25% of their service revenue, and that's why I believe that it was hit relatively hard. It was lagging, holding up strong, but then with Google just continuously moving lower here, you've seen that start to catch up to the overall market. But with AAPL, it is really strong, one of the stronger tech names on the day. I would stick with that strength.
I want to read something that Adaro sent me today.
Sure.
Ming-Chi Kuo, one of the more noted Apple commentators, he talks about supply chain. He's got connections with Foxconn, Taiwan Semi. He's kind of the person that you look to for inside information, I guess, with Apple products. And Adara, where do you post this? X? He's always on X. He's always on X. Thank you, Adara. The Ming-Chi quote note on Apple. There's been some market chatter about Apple planning to buy NVIDIA's GB300, their new GPU that they announced at GTC not that while ago, for about $1 billion deal. It's about 250 racks, or about 18,000 GPUs, basically. He goes on to say, honestly, this purchase alone doesn't carry much weight for Apple's AI ambitions. Certain people in the market seem to be overplaying the rumor's significance. Here's his case. So there's 2 points here. First, the order scale is way too small. Among the big tech names investing in AI, Meta probably is the closest example comparable to Apple. Meta's AI server purchases focuses on developing LLMs, cutting operational costs, and boosting service efficiency, rather than providing services like an LAAS or hosting. I don't know what LAAS means. That's pretty similar to Apple's playbook. Meta's expected to snap up to about 1.3 million GPUs in 2025. That's insane. That's a whopping 70 times Apple's reported order. Given this, Apple's procurement hardly seems sufficient to drive meaningful AI operations. That's point number one. Point number 2 is the GB300, that new GPU, their mass shipments won't start until the first half of 2026, so essentially a year from now. Apple suppliers here, Dell and Supermicro, aren't top-tier assemblers like Foxconn or Quanata, so Apple might not get its racks until Q3 or Q2 of 2026, or even later. He goes on to say, clearly this deal isn't going to give Apple an AI edge anytime soon, definitely not in the next 12 months. That's obviously all opinion. I want to make a point though. So the point that I was saying to Adara was, maybe in the scale, when you're making comps to what Microsoft's buying, to what Meta's buying, to what Amazon is buying, Apple seems to be really far behind. But what I said to her was, does the DeepSeek kind of curveball have anything to do with that in terms of, do we need this many GPUs for AI to be efficient at this level, like say an 80% level or a 90% level to whatever like Meta's doing or whatever Microsoft's doing? Or have we made gains in efficiency? You always hear the expression, necessity is the mother of all invention, right? And the Chinese couldn't get their hands on these GPUs, hence they had necessity for efficiency, and they seem to come up with a bit of a curveball. Let's be honest. DeepSeek took us all by surprise in December. So what I'm trying to say here is, are we? One of the things that we've always been talking about is the AI play overhyped, in the sense that, are these hyperscalers spending too much money on AI build-out than they really should be? Is it going to hurt them later down the line? And a lot of comparisons have been made to the dot-com bubble, the laying of the fiber optics. I think this is a little different, so I'm hesitant to want to make the two comparisons, but history only has so many comps. So this is going to be the real question. Is it possible that we have made efficiency gains? That's number one. Number two, maybe Apple's offering for the Apple Intelligence will be kind of limited in a sense to the things that they offer, and then they outsource to the likes of ChatGPT, which they're already doing. I mean, before they pulled that Siri, the Siri update, which let's call a spade, man. The AI rollout by Apple was absolutely botched.
Did
Botched,
you watch the Marquise Brownlee?
I did.
Yeah.
He didn't have much to say on it.
No.
I did watch it because it was like, it's kind of like a required reading if you're involved in Apple, right? You got to hear what Marquise Brownlee has to say. But he didn't tell me anything I don't already know, Joseph.
Exactly,
You know what I'm saying? And the reason, what Joseph's talking about is MKHD's got a video right now about Apple Intelligence, the botched rollout of Apple Intelligence. So to make a long story short, are we kind of entering a new stage in AI where we don't need to have an entire data center full of GPUs to have a good product offering? I'm not smart enough to know that, nor am I, in the business. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's definitely an interesting development, and I definitely get Ming Chi Kuo's comments there. I just want to pass that on to you guys because that wasn't widely reported this morning.
Yeah, and good too. I was reading some stuff on Apple as well to add to your point, Sharif. A little bit off from the AI, except for this one point where we were just talking about the agents. So Apple is elevating its healthcare app with the AI capabilities to mimic real doctors, called Project Mulberry, which is supposed to debut on iOS 19.4 next year. So there you go. You get the health app, kind of an AI doctor, those AI type agents.
Oh, by the way, Fabian, is it possible to send you a video that we can play? Thank you. I will. It's there's leaks. There's been a bunch of leaks this weekend. It's from multiple sources, not just one source, about the looks and the new form factor for the iPhone 17. I can't believe we're already talking about it. Right. But WWDC, guys, is literally in like 3 months. So, yeah, believe it or not, things creep up super quick. It just feels like yesterday that we were talking about the release of the 16, but all of a sudden, Katina, man, we're talking about the 17 now. So I'm going to send this to Fabian over here because there's all sorts of leaks right now about the 17. It's going to have a new camera bump, this, that, and the other. Yeah. We're going to have to wait and see if that moves the needle because we know the 16 didn't move crap.
It didn't. Well, I think a lot of it had to do with that kind of that two-part release of Apple Intelligence. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. And so now it's like, okay, you have to wait for another year for the next phone to come out. And then now I just mentioned that healthcare app as well too. And they're going to create an M5 iPad late 2025.
Sir.
So again, they're like, I don't know. I'm not going to get too into deep, but they're just refining the things that they have. I think
it's not good enough, Joseph.
Yeah, it's absolutely not good enough here. But back into these markets, guys. Apple hasn't made an improvement in the the last 3 versions, and I agree with you on that front. All the phones are really identical throughout the past 5 or 6 years, that is, in my opinion. But here we go, guys, on NVDA. So Stevenson, it's unfortunate. If I held a little bit longer, but we were forming this ABCD, the stair-step pattern that Sharif was just referring to, or you can classify it as an ABCD, whatever floats your boat on that front. But if I got in at the bottom of the range, I would have been able to hold it a little bit longer. But a nice breakout from 105.70 all the way to 106.20-ish, roughly, but starting to pull back here now. So another entry opportunity may arise. I did take more off here, about 33%, opposed to just taking off 10% here, or whatever, 20%, I believe, because I'm like, ooh, this is really volatile, and it just breathes a lot, the ebbs and flows of this underlying asset. You're getting all those pullbacks, and I referred to it how it trades, like with the likes of Apple. When I remember I was telling you guys when I first started doing my trading journey, my scanners were relatively basic. I'm looking for anything over 1 million shares, and then let's trade it. And what fell on my lap usually every morning, that was AAPL. And now that's with the likes of NVDA. You'll see it put in 3 million shares in the morning like it's nothing, right? So it eats those shares for breakfast, essentially. Not very much volume. But again, it's just like it breathes a lot, right? It takes so much capital in order to move this. It's like, okay, you're entering this trade, then you get a 40% retracement, you enter again, and then it pulls back another 40% of that move. So you just have to be really patient with this name and understand that it is, I wouldn't call it volatile, it just breathes a lot and takes a lot of requirements. But AMD, I do like the price action print, how we're forming here on AMD. You can see that we have forming somewhat of a wedge here, guys. We'll pull it up here. You can see this consistent lower highs. Where's my tools? I don't know. They are gone. But anyways, but you can see the consistent lower highs here, guys. And then now you have that form of support established. Let's see if it can break through that and continue to move. As the market slowly grinds higher, we're not really participating on that front, but it also filled the gap. So just below that resistance zone, you get the majority of that gap filled. So that is the look on AMD and some of these semis here.
All right, we got the TikTok video. There's the guy. So this is apparently going to be the new 17, Joseph.
Okay.
I don't know how they got the images or anything like that. But he goes on, like, I don't know, we can't hear him. Can they hear him? It's fine. He just talks about the upcoming features and stuff. Like, people can do their own homework, obviously, but there's multiple different updates. It doesn't move the needle for me, bro. You're gonna need to give me more than a camera bump to get going over here. The thing is, Joseph, things are more software based now. Oh, but there's gonna be an iPhone Air as well.
Oh, there.
Not like I really care about that. Can't wait for that to bend.
I know.
Do you remember the iPhone 6?
They were having people
remember that
with their pocket.
Bendgate. What was it called? Bendgate? Bendgate, like Ben Gay, right? Like the cream. But yeah, in any event, there's going to be a few new form factors, new camera bump, the what's it called, the iPhone Air, they're calling it. But really nothing that we haven't seen before, Joseph, in terms of like a flip phone and the screens are supposed to be a bit bigger as well. I can kind of get behind that. I like bigger screens, but not really wanting that whole thing in my pocket if I can kind of.
Well, then it'll just occupy your whole pocket, I guess. I don't know. But to add to what we were talking about earlier, Sharif, and how kind of the Apple Intelligence was completely botched. And one point that I like that Marquise Brownlee made is that they never gave them like a beta mode to test out with that improved Siri update.
Why did they not do that?
It wasn't ready.
Because it wasn't ready.
It was never ready. And it's like,
they did that before.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, you usually get these betas to come out and try, but they didn't even release any of that. So that tells you how far behind they actually might be in this new Siri update.
Exactly. So what Joseph's talking about is the updated Siri. They had everything ready in terms of Apple Intelligence. They let them try it, but they didn't let them try that. They only showed them videos. So Marquise Brownlee's theory is that they don't actually have it ready. Like, it's not even in beta where they can kind of, here, look, give it a try. Maybe it kind of glitches a little bit. That's to be expected.
There's bugs here and there, right?
Absolutely, which is normal,
Totally
right?
normal.
But they don't even have it ready from that regard, hence why nobody's tried it. And so the example that he referred to was this wireless charging kind of station. I forget what they called it. I forget what it's called.
Like the island or something.
Something like that.
Yeah,
it was called wireless charging island, and they kind of, I think they released this with the iPhone 6 back like in the 2015, I believe it was, 2014, 2015, something like that, where you could just put your phone, like everybody does this now, where you have wireless charging. But when they dropped it at the time and you put your phone actually on the charger, it wasn't charging because they didn't have it ready. And guess what? They dropped that product altogether. So he's trying to make the point that when they don't let you try something hands-on, something's afoot. Because usually there's something behind that. Otherwise, you get a hands-on test of it. So I get his point. I respect him. Obviously, he's a hell of a person, and I find him to be quite fair. Marquise Brownlee, that is. That's just my opinion. So I respect what he has to say.
It's called air power.
Air power. That's it. Thank you for that, guys. You guys know what I'm talking about. I do appreciate that.
They said that, what he was saying, they only had one throughout that whole kind of that conference.
And it wasn't working, dude. It didn't even work.
It's like, well, you guys didn't think to maybe try it before you bring in all these people to see the air power?
Yeah.
But,
Exactly. That's the suspicious part of it, right? Like when you can't try something and when they have a history of letting you try it, it kind of raises some suspicions, and I can completely get behind that type of thinking. Adam, he's not a Apple hater, bro. I disagree with that. I love Apple. I'm invested in Apple. I have Apple everything. And I think he is very, very fair to Apple. Timmy C also selected him to sit down with and talk about the new launch of the 16 in Apple Intelligence. I believe that was in the late summer, early fall. So I don't think if he was a noted Apple hater, Timmy C would want to sit down with him. That's just my opinion. I respect your opinion, though, but I respectfully disagree. All right, guys, let's get back into some trading over here. I don't have a setup right now that I'm liking on any of the small cap gappers. They're not. None of them are setting up in the right way. The only thing that I'm really kind of looking at a little bit here, and it's kind of, I feel like I'm grasping at straws. BLUE. It hasn't done a whole lot. Okay, but it's got a gnarly upward channel, and there seems to be a flat top break possibly brewing at 530. We can't seem to clear that level, but we're putting in higher lows all the while. So we've kind of seen this story before. Look at this. This 520 area was elusive, and then it's 530 that's elusive. So if history's any guide, we clear 530, and then maybe we start doing that dance with 540. So BLUE could be an interesting trade. I'm keeping my eye on MLGO because everybody was yelling about that one. Shout out to Bovin. Shout out to Tisha. Let's look at MLGO. It's above VWAP, but I don't want to be quick into this one now that it's a bit more pricey at 23 bucks and change. So this one is above VWAP. It seems to have some selling here at around 23 3/4. Not an area that I would have earmarked for some selling. Personally, I didn't see a resistance around there. Let's flip to the 5, see what we can gauge here. Not a bad look. Respect generally for the 10 exponential. There are these outlying candles that break to the high side and the low side that stop everybody out. Likely, unless your stops were farther than that. So not a bad look for MLGO right now, but not not a glowing endorsement for an entry. Let's keep an eye on ICCT as well. It's trying its best to stay above that dollar area. It briefly dropped below $1, but now it's like resistance is previous area of support. I'm talking about that 105, 106 area where we kind of found some support there before we made that 127 touch. Now we're using it, looks like, as resistance. VVPR, it looks like its best trade is behind it. It's dropping down into the 20, whereas before it was respectful of the 10, so it looks like it's losing a little bit of steam here. CTRX below VWAP and no longer tradable under my system. BYON is the only one that's really holding up here, and we're all done this trade. I got out at 88s and the high is 91, so I don't feel awfully bad about that, but we're putting in some bottoming tail candles on BYON, so maybe this is an alert for me to start getting long on this one, showing that buyers are picking this one up off the 10 exponential. I'm talking about BYON, a decent small cap gapper, not the best, up 10% on the day. Let's load up that side chart here, and then we'll talk about about Newsmax just briefly over here, as it is trying to make yet another up move. So let's go ahead and get long. Let's get long on BYON, and then I'm going to give this one to the the breach of the 20 exponential moving average. So let's go ahead and throw that on there, And then we're going to go just like that, and we'll set up some profit takers to the high side here if we're able to, and to front run any levels that I perceive. So let's look now at Newsmax. There goes Newsmax. Okay, here we go. 66 selling. So the high of the day on Newsmax, let me just load this one up on my platform so I got all the right details. 76.74. We dropped out. The lowest area we got to, locally, not before, obviously, local area drop is about 52.25. That was the area we dropped into at about a quarter afternoon. The this area drop right here, so I'm talking about this candle at 1240 dropped into about 55 bucks generally. Now we're at 65 bucks. So we are putting in higher lows on Newsmax with that obvious area top still being the high of the day, 76.74. Here we go. Looks like we took out 66. Now we're on our way to 67. So Newsmax picking up steam again to the high side and taking out 64, which had been a local area resistance. As you can see, we couldn't print anything really above 64 on a closing basis, and we still haven't because this candle still got 2 minutes left here before it closes. So we could definitely lose that, and it could end up being a wick. So keep your eye on Newsmax. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, this is a very dangerous name. It's very volatile. It's moving dollars at a time. The spread is quite prohibitive for those looking to scalp right now. It's about 80, 90 pennies, excuse me. So make sure you are accounting for all that danger when you do get involved with this one, if you get involved, Joseph.
Yeah, good look there. So Dylan, I'm just reading a little bit here. So Tesla investors should brace themselves. Anyways, never mind. Analysts on average expect Tesla on Wednesday to report deliveries of 408,000 electric vehicles for the quarter of January to March quarter. According to estimates, they may have lowered that to below 400,000 in recent weeks. A domestic protests against Tesla have raged, and international sales have absolutely slumped in China and in the EU. So be wary. This Wednesday, we are waiting for those Tesla deliveries. Deutsche Bank analysts last week reduced its first quarter forecast by about 50,000 units to 345,000 deliveries, which would translate to an 11% year-over-year drop and a 30% decrease from the previous quarter. Deutsche also lowered its full-year estimates of 1.7 million units sold from about 2.1 million units, a 5% decline compared to 2024. So there you go. The analysts have it. They're deliveries. All right. So that's what two totally different things I was referring there. So there you go. You have the decrease, and you can see that the sales in EU are down and in China. So there you go. It's being reflected. So watch out for Wednesday. That was a nice rally that we seen here on Tesla, trading almost to that $300 target, but then now coming back in. So yeah, Tesla sales in the European Union fell 49% in January and February compared to a year earlier, according to the European Automobile Manufacturer Association, which is over 19,000 units registered. Damn, okay, that is not very good. Tesla's best-selling Model Y and Model 3 fell by 65% and 14% respectively in February. Dylan, if you think those 240 puts, I mean, they might come into play if those numbers come. But see, that's the thing, right? So now I feel like the guide is slightly lower. And if they beat them, then the name can continue to climb. But if they miss out on them, then just be prepared for some more potential downside. And that's what I was referring to Tesla. It was a nice rally that we seen here. But with sales in the EU going down and in China as well too, I just don't think, you know what I mean? China, man, we can definitely go back into that negative 55% from, or not negative, but a 55% haircut in Tesla coming Wednesday. So let's see what else we got to keep crushing it, fellas. Yeah, thank you, DDT, much appreciated. I'm waiting for another entry on NVDA, and we'll go over that shortly. But let's see what everybody else in the chat is saying. Yo, what's up, Joseph? Hope you're making money today. How we feel about 50 calls IBIT 4. All right.
That's a lot of calls,
yeah,
bro.
that's my dad's birthday. Oh no, he meant 50 like the 50 strike price call.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. For the 4th of April. The only reason I know that's my dad's birthday. Let's pull out some IBIT. Let's see what he's up to. I haven't talked to that guy in a while. Can you give him a shout maybe? Got
hey.
pops on. But yeah, 50 calls for April. That's not too far away. I wouldn't see, that's the thing. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but just because we are in this primary downtrend, I don't necessarily like that. Let's see what they're asking anyways, because you are looking to buy them out of the money. So one thing that you would need to note is that if you get any form of pop and collect any extrinsic value, then you would most likely want to get out of that trade. But if you're looking to buy the 50 calls, obviously I would suggest you just buy more time. All right, so 34,000 open contracts by the end of this week. All right, so Friday is April 4th. Be wary of that. It definitely can come into play, but you're gonna need to see some buyers step in and some participants. There is no heavy open interest to the downside on the put level, so that can possibly act as a call wall there, Sharif, right at that 50 strike price with, 51.50, sorry. Yeah, so 50 has about 34,000 currently open contracts expiring this Friday. That may come into play, but considering that you're going to buy them out of the money, you get any form of pop, I would look to sell those and hold that time value, because that expiration cycle is too near dated, in my opinion, for IBIT or Bitcoin to climb up to that $50 strike price.
All right, we're taking profits here on MLGO. I got in long. I'm going to give this to the $0.50. This was kind of, I lost a little bit on that. Oh, it's okay. This one did break out through 24, so I was trying to catch the momentum. Let's see if it comes back down to 24 on this one. I did this on a whim without planning, and that's kind of what you get there when you do that. But I still like the trade into 24. 24 is a level. It's a previous area of resistance. Let's see if this one was just taking a quick break, and it looks like it was destined to break 25, and it was doing it on volume as well. So MLGO really popped aggressively there. Let's give this a try, see if we can get in. It's not letting us in because it is a little illiquid. Here comes that level again. I'm going to give this a try again. Still not letting me in. There we go. Now we're involved. So I will defend this now into that $24 area. Let's see if we're able to get something in the 90s, and then we'll set up possibly on the other side of 25 if we can. Here we go. There is a definite seller at 90. So we keep rejecting every time into that 90 area. So let's see if we're able to take him out on the second attempt. This is the second time that we tried to weasel into 90 and we couldn't. So I'm going to de-risk a little bit here. Took a little bit off the top. Let's see if we can continue to go here on MLGO. It's up 43%, so I don't mind trying this one. It's one of the only ones that's moving at the moment, and they seem to have their best trades when they're going parabolic like this, but obviously it presents false breakouts are an ever-present danger. Here we go. We're showing 80s again. We're long 75s. I don't mind DCing into the 50s. That's exactly what I'm going to do right now. Put a 58 print for a possible add in and around there. But we're still in the money on this one, but still zigging and zagging and unable to take out that 90 penny area. Kind of a bizarre area to have a seller anyway at 90 pennies, but I guess maybe not that bizarre, that people that are trying to front run the whole dollar area. Back into 75, not much happening at these levels over here, so we're not that much out of the money, but we're not getting printed to the downside either, or nor are we getting taken out to the top side. So watching here, MLGO zigging and zagging at these levels. It's got higher lows on each successive 1 minute candle. So maybe I'll keep an eye on that for a new low to come in here. That could possibly get me out of the trade. Right back into 80 again. Here we go. Boom to the high side, Katina man. Here we go on MLGO. All right, baby. Katina Man's like, bro, you're doing too much emotion right now. Stop it, right? Shout out to the Katina Man, bro. Good vibes, Katina. Hey, whoa, what'd I do to the screen, bro? What'd I do? What'd I do, bro? I don't know. Fabian's doing it. Here we go. MLGO, break it out, baby. Here comes 26. Back to the high side. All right, good times. All right, we got this one at a good time. I'm happy about that. MLGO, baby, breaking out. Shout out to my man, Bovin. Shout out to Tisha as well. I know she's probably not in the chat right now, but she was calling this one out earlier. I didn't like it at the time. I got to tell you, I didn't like the way it was looking. I didn't like the look of its jib, but it broke out bigly there. Shout out to the orange one, who's got me saying bigly a lot more later. Anyway, Joseph, not a bad move here on your friend, MLGO. Micro algo is its name.
Yeah, my close friend, MLGO. but you know who is my closer friend, Sharif?
What?
I said, yeah.
Well, sorry, I was so confused.
I said, well, you said my close friend. I said,
Yeah,
who's my closer friend?
Who?
The Playmaker poll.
Oh.
We're going to go to Adara and then get documenting some more
Yes,
data
sir.
here, guys, on the Playmaker poll.
Keep an eye on TEVA. This is Teva. This is a pharmaceutical company. They have apparently about 7 million shares traded of the day. They're not necessarily a small cap. We've got about a 1 billion share float, $4 billion market cap, but apparently some new data is coming out to strengthen the company's schizophrenia portfolio, including their phase 3 trial of Solaris. The survey has demonstrated apparently some results with regards to patient and healthcare satisfaction. So keep an eye here on TEVA. Apparently well-received schizophrenia drug results, guys. Back to you.
Yes.
Very interesting headline.
Very, very interesting.
I'm ready to go, baby.
You're ready to go. I'm ready. I'm ready. All right. I'm ready now.
All right.
Let's go. Is that SpongeBob, right? You got that one there, Fabian? Let's go. All right. Yeah. What are we typing in here, my guy?
Are we going long or short?
We're going long.
All right, we're doing it
live.
5:53:57.
5:53:57.
57, yes,
Bang.
sir. And then we're taking everything out at 5:55:57.
Ooh, 555.
Yep.
57. Okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, all
And
right.
then we're getting stopped out 5:52:57.
552.
Hopefully not, Katina, man. Hopefully we continue to do well here on the Playmaker poll, baby.
On the Playmaker poll.
Wow.
Okay, yeah.
We're still going. The Katina man's going long AMD,
Yeah, I
guys.
like that play. I like that play on AMD. I'm looking at that one as well too. Here, give me 1 second as I document this, and then I'm going to cover it real quick here, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
I'll adjust all this stuff, but all the data is caught up. Beautiful stuff. That is a work of art to me, in my opinion, and I hope you guys are doing this too. But here we go. I like this long on AMD. You can see that we have formed that base, but now we are starting to compress in price here, guys. Consistent lower highs, but now that volume on the lower time frame is really starting to pick up as we run into this resistance zone. If we can sit on the backside of this trend line, then I believe that we can continue to climb higher here in AMD. Nice price compression, nice strong price action, and nice volume. There
Bang.
you go. He's getting the pop, hit the sirens, hit the confidence, and there we are climbing higher in AMD. Good look there, because I was looking at AMD as well too, my friend.
All right, we're back into MLGO at 78s, taking it out at 25s over here. We're going to wet the beak. Let's see if this one continues. It's not giving me the print. I don't know why. What's going on up there, Adara?
This company has been discussed a lot here today during the midday, Sharif. It's AAPL Apple. Company announcing here that their Apple Intelligence and new spatial experiences are going to be coming to the Apple Vision Pro today with Vision OS 2.4. So Vision Pro update on watch here for AAPL. Back to you.
Absolutely rinsed on MLGO, trying to add at that 24.75. I tried to take it out at 25. I thought that I had given it enough room to cross. I didn't, and so there was an area of illiquidity, and then all hell broke loose to the downside, dropping in 24. So we lost essentially about 60 pennies on that last trade. So not a good look there. Tougher look for me on MLGO. Negative now on the day as a result of this name. So we'll look to do a little bit better and to set up, if it allows me to set up in a more appropriate way. So MLGO, it giveth and it taketh away, and it just took away from me right now with that break below 25. So initially I was looking at that $25 area. It didn't hold, so I didn't punch in. Then I waited until we dropped down a little bit below 25. After zigging all the way down to 24, popped back up. I figured we were going to make another attempt at 26. I was wrong, or at least for the moment I was wrong. It's trying to attempt again and move back into 25. So MLGO definitely on watch now as it zigs and zags, Joseph, into that high side.
Yeah, good look there. So I'm still keeping my eyes here on AMD, guys. Advanced Money Duplicator, I think, is what the guys were calling it this morning. It's no longer the Destroyer. Oh, advanced money doubling. Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah. What would you call it? Katina Man said advanced money deposit, but you might not get you might not get that deposit back. Yeah, like, so if anybody knows that one South Park scene where they're like, yeah, here's $100 and put it into a money mutual fund, and it's gone. There, and there you go. So there it is on AMD. So a nice coming back into the range here, guys. But I'm still watching and keeping my eyes on NVDA. We took a couple scalps on this name, and and now we're running into this resistance zone, but I do believe that we can continue to climb higher. The thing is, as we're starting to recover, it's not participating, so it's really, really weak. So you have to take that into consideration. As we are breaking through some of these zones, again, you got to be patient, wait for that right setup, and just make sure that this volume on the lower time frame can be sustained and that we can break through some of these resistance zones. Okay, so I'm going to get in a little bit here. I'm going to put my stop just below this range, and if we crack lower, then that's just going to signify to me that, hey, we are really, really weak, and we may not climb any higher here in NVDA. Sharif.
All right, we're still watching BYON. It's the only trade we've got on at the moment. We're a penny out of the money, and no prints on BYON was good to us before. Not so much on this ad right here, as it's now working its way. It feels like down into that 580 area where the 20 exponential moving average on the 5 is hanging out. And now we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's call this a candle of indecision. So it'll be an honorary red candle, 6, 7, 8 red candle setup. But we're still kind of not really putting in aggressively lower lows. So I've placed my stop below this area low, so I think I can afford what's going on there. And it's gone.
And it's gone.
Love that.
It's like I have $100 into invest. It's like, all right, yeah, we have this money mutual fund for you. And it's gone.
It's gone. Must have felt like, what year is that from? Is that from the GFC or something? Is that why?
Yeah,
like where everyone
2008.
2008, exactly.
Great,
GFC. That feels like that's what every. What's that? It's always topical, says Fabian, which makes sense because I feel like a lot of people got rinsed very quickly, very fast during the GFC, man. That was crazy. I don't think it was as bad as Enron, though. Like, Enron, to me, I was really young back then, so I remember bits and pieces, but that one, it was like everybody held that in their 401ks, and then all of a sudden it was zero. So I think a lot more people, if you held Enron, you got rinsed a lot harder. It does feel like that. ICCT, guys, the bamboozlement continues. So it's not just MLGO that's bamboozling, but ICCT took out 110 Katina Man, and I know the Katina Man's involved in AMD right now, and it's up 1 1/3 since the bell, by the way. So it's recovered since that bell ranks. I'm talking about AMD, but we're looking here at ICCT defending $1. So if ICCT wants to get going again, baby, we'll get involved in this one. But it still feels like lower highs. I mean, you can see that area 133, then it's an area 125, and now it's an area 115. So if that's going to be the case, where it's just a lower high type setup and we're being kept down by the bag holders or the shorts, well, then this is not really a glowing endorsement for the long. So continue to watch that. Joseph, can you check SPY, please? Says Mr. C. Thank you very much for that $2 super chat.
Yes, the SPY who, that's it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can say it, whatever, bro. It's the name of a movie.
All right, yes, the SPY who shagged me there.
Yeah.
You know, I know what it is. There you go. You
I was like, so bad. Yeah. Say it with your chest open.
Yeah, say it with your chest. Yeah, say it with your chest, man. That's
Best one of the three, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that.
So it's probably one of the better ones. There's some that stuff is crazy. It's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, here we go. Nice move here on the SPY. You can see that we have now filled that gap from this morning's gap down. It's strong in tech. But let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily perspective. You can see that we now broke through some of these support levels, but we are getting this hammer print. And I mentioned this across multiple names. This could be good and a potential bottoming signal if that volume stays elevated, down 10.5% from the highs to this current level. So there you go. I do believe that we can get an overall bounce in the market and in the SPY. Just be patient, wait for those entries. But I do think it's looking pretty good, especially because we have some of the big names putting in identical signals, and we'll go over to the likes of Amazon. I really like this hammer print at the lows here. As you can see, we're kind of just in blue ocean. Never mind blue skies, it's kind of blue ocean, even though you see that we have some like mid zone here, but this nice gap down and then an isolated pivot. So I'm going to be patient and wait. What I can do, to be honest with you, to kind of build a starter position, and I was referring this to you as well, Pizza Rat, is that if you don't believe that an underlying asset is going to go lower than what than said price, and you can construct a trade off of that. I told you guys way back here is one of my better options writing trades on Amazon. So I'm kind of getting the same vibes. This wasn't completely turn around like, hey, we're going to recover 10% or anything along those lines, but I do like this print here. So what we can establish is say, hey, in a matter of a week or two, we don't believe that Amazon is going to go south of 180. So we can create a bull put spread. So essentially we're shorting some puts, and then we're going to buy some protection to hedge that position as well, because we don't necessarily want to be naked, nor do we want to get assigned on those levels. So that's what I'm looking at here on AMZM. We took one stab via the long calls, didn't close it out, but now I believe another opportunity has arisen with shorting puts and even getting back to purchasing some calls as well too, Sharif.
All right, we're getting long here on ICCT. It's holding up. I mean, there's not a lot moving, so I'm gonna really have to try with this one. Let's see if we can get some continuity. The high of the previous candle, I know, right? The high of the previous candle was $1.13, so let's see if we can extract something at 12s, and then we'll layer above that level. There does seem to be a whole lot of selling right now at 10s and 11s. We'll keep an eye out on that. ICCT is what I'm talking about. It wasn't good to us early. It was good initially to us, and then it really broke down, and it's still putting in lower highs, but I'm going to see if there's a scalp trade to be had here. Definite seller at 111s, keeping this bad boy down, both hidden and posted. You can see the posted there on ARCX and ARB, about 600 lots, give or take, with some more on MEMEX and BATS and stuff like that. That's really not enough to keep this down, but when you get more adding to the sell side of there, you kind of feel that there's more weight coming in at that 111, and you can see it's chopping and churning aggressively at that 111 area, and more sell orders are coming in there than are coming in on the buy side. Keep your eye on the buy side as well to see how many buy orders are backstopping you, and right now it feels a lot heavier on the right side of the book than it does on the left side, and so that usually means a bit of a downturn unless we can get a hidden buyer or a new buyer coming in de novo. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. It's breaking down a little bit here. We're about 3 pennies out of the money. Let's see if this one wants to hold up above 105. We'll give this one about 5 pennies worth of room. BYON as well. I got in at 80s, looking for this one to hold above that 80 penny level. Let's go ahead and put a beak wetter over here, and then keep an eye on ICCT. Still zigging and zagging, not really giving up the ghost that much. And we've already seen that 105 was a previous area of resistance. Now it's a question of whether it acts as support. That's going to be my look right now. That's where I'm going to wait for a possible add, with the obvious dollar being my line in the sand for an out there for my stop. So we'll continue to watch here as ICCT either bamboozles us or gives us a good entry on a possible move in. I want to mention that Rich Tech Robotics bounced off VWAP as well, which was an interesting one earlier. I mean, we didn't really talk too much about RR, but this was kind of bull flag, and then it started putting in all these lower highs, with VWAP being defended. Now it's trying to break through that 197. Let's see what it does with 2. I'm talking about RR Rich Tech Robotics. Joseph, what do you got?
Yeah, good look there. I'm just talking about Jay Lee. He said some good stuff there, but Tina Man says AMD all day. Let's go.
Hey.
We like that. But here we got to note that we might have a potential double top in NVDA unless we can punch through this. I don't like that we rejected it and we didn't climb higher. So got to be patient on this one. Stevenson, I know you've been trading it, but it's not looking too good. Positioning is key, especially in this thing if it doesn't want to break through some of these pre-market high zones, and it just continues to reject. So we have to follow the price action. I gave this one a little bit wider of a stop, so I'll get out at 105.26. You can see that's about 70 cents of risk here, and if it breaks that low, then I just believe that I'm going to be wrong and it's not going to climb higher. It doesn't want to participate with the overall market as we continuously bleed. I will not bleed, but as it climbs higher, and then NVDA wasn't really partaking, and that's still negative 3.4% on the day. Yeah, NVIDIA is doing NVIDIA things. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for after hours, but it's really good. Okay, yeah, nice. So I'm glad that that's working out for you. I know my cousin used to use it way back in the day. I never used it, but it's been around for some time, and I know it's one of the better ones in Canada. So yeah, good luck there, Jay Lee, as always. Yeah, Jay Lee. But yeah, nice look there, guys. Here's AMD. Katina Man's in it. What's your average price on that there, Katina?
AMD.
101.06. So there you go, 106 in Park, right there. Remember that
Of
channel?
course,
Or that
bro.
show? Yeah.
Hold on, who are the hosts again?
I don't
The
even
dude with the dreads,
remember,
the
yeah.
long dreads. Neil, help me out, bro.
AJ and
AJ and Free. Thank
There
you.
you
I'm
go,
sorry,
yeah,
Neil.
there you
I get lapses in memory. I'm getting old.
Hey, I haven't watched, I don't even know if BET still exists, but I haven't watched 106 and Park and Probably 20 years.
Neil didn't like that.
No? Does it?
He's like, come on, man.
Does it? I don't even know. I
it
haven't
does,
watched
I guess.
cable TV in like 20 years. I don't know.
Dude, even if you had cable, there's a bajillion channels, bro. It's impossible to know what's on and what's not
exactly,
on. Like,
I don't even
yeah.
know BET. So there you go. It shows you how much I know.
All good. You're
it's
good,
a
bro.
dinosaur, getting dinosaur-esque there.
Bro,
Did
I'm the dinosaur around here,
but
bro.
Did nothing but work out on the weekend, and I'm like,
Hey!
yeah, but that's how we usually do it.
smash
know what I mean?
calisthenics?
Yeah, of course, man. Push-ups,
Hey.
dips, everything along those lines. Crush some legs too. Played hockey on Friday. So just.
You have the option to like and subscribe. This trade has unlimited upside.
Freestyle Fridays was solid. That was it. That was the segment there. Freestyle Fridays.
Yeah, those are good, man.
That was
Those are good times,
Blind
man.
Fury, Freestyle Rabbit from 106. No, I don't remember Blind Fury. Yeah, BET used to be good. But I mean, guys, we're not getting that pop here in NVDA. We're gonna hold this on a little bit longer because you can see that we are forming these consistent higher lows, which is something positive. So until we crack that trend to the downside, I'll hold on to this position. I do believe we can break through it at one point, but the buyers just don't seem to want to participate at this point. So we have to be a little bit more patient. Hopefully this doesn't give us double top type price action. And one thing that I would like to know is that as the market continued to climb higher and higher and NVDA didn't participate as some of the other bigger names, as we start to pull back, you're going to see the sellers start to step in and be slightly more aggressive than the buyers here on NVDA.
You're getting love in the chat, Joseph. Batuhan Y. I'm sorry I probably butchered your name, brother, and I do apologize. Never eats pie, never farts, never seen cable TV. I don't know about this farty thing.
Yeah.
Who is this guy, man? He is an enigma, baby. That's who he is. Shout out to Joseph Wilson.
Yeah, the never farts thing is
What? I don't know about I don't know where he got the farts thing.
that's crazy.
Oh, I remember that.
What happened?
The stretching fart gate. Remember when you were stretching and people kept thinking I was smashing, gas over here? And then it was like your chair that was doing that?
Yeah, there we
Yes, now another piece of the puzzle
There you
falls
go.
into
See?
place. Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
I mean, as for pie, dude, I've never had it, and I don't plan on having it. Like, I don't know, it's just not my cup
He doesn't
of tea.
care about pie,
Yeah,
okay?
you
Like,
know
can
what
we
I
leave
mean?
him alone?
Yeah, like,
I'm just joking.
hit me up with some ice cream or something like that. you know
Ice
what I
cream,
mean?
yeah, well, I can
but
get
it's
behind
just
that.
A little ice cream, you know what I
can
mean?
get behind that, it's fine.
Haagen-Dazs or something like that.
Katina Man's like threatening me. He's like, you better get behind that right now.
What,
You
the pie
kidding?
light?
No, ice cream.
Oh,
ice cream, man. Yeah.
for sure, man.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, no, we're in the ice cream game. But see, the thing is, I'm a single scoop, no cone cup guy. That's it.
Fair.
That's me. Fair, right?
Yeah.
Throw it in
That's
the cup
completely
there. I don't want the cone.
respectable. He doesn't want the cone.
I don't want the cone. And
Yeah.
that's it. So,
Well, there's. We're having a great time
we
today,
don't want-
guys.
we don't
I
want
do
the cone, man.
appreciate.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it.
Calm down, Canna Club Chicago. Why do you gotta say weird stuff like that and get
even
all
legal?
weird
Isn't it even legal over
conversation? All right, guys, we're in VVPR again. At VWAP, this is a VWAP retracement. Where are we long? We're long 9, scalped out there into 13s, waiting at 15s, waiting at 18s. Let's see if this one will have us. I'm also in ICCT. That's going to have to hold up at a buck. I'm already worried that it dropped below 105 because I perceived 105 as local area support, but I'm going to give it to the dollar area just to give this one a fair shake. If it loses a dollar, we're done the trade. We'll be 0 for 3 on ICCT. Just, we're going to give this one a try. Let's see what it does, up 250%, but it is losing that dollar again. It is putting consecutively lower highs, so maybe I should stop trying to trade this one to the long side and look over to the Katina Man and the Neil. Maybe they'll get me some shorts, but I won't short this above the volume weighted average price anyway. Let's just see which way the cookie crumbles over here. BYON as well, starting to lose the bid. It's below the 20, it's below the 10. This thing drops below 77s. That's the end of the trade. We're long at 83, so will be a 6 penny loss on that one. BYON, all the small cap gappers, it really does feel that way, are losing the bid, maybe except MLGO. MLGO still trying to hold up above 24, but it's well below that 26, 28 high day pop that we put in not that long ago. So let's see if this one can catch a bit of a bid. Yeah, they're really all breaking down right now. I'm talking about the small cap gappers, that is. Below the volume weighted average price. Got to tell you, MLGO looks like the best of the bunch right now. So we'll flip away from ICCT for a second. And there goes MLGO. It's about to take out 26 again. Here it is. Just one second, because this one's zigging and zagging aggressively. So the high of the day, as I mentioned, 26 and a third. This one just popped above 26 to 26.10. MLGO is on one again. It's having trouble with 26.10s though, as you can see. We just popped up into, now 20s. So MLGO is breaking to the high side, guys, but we got to pay a bill. So I'm going to do that now. In sports playing, flexibility is everything. At ProfitX, you can see the order book just like a financial exchange. Pick your spot and customize the odds to fit your risk. Why settle for a single offered price when you can set your own? Plus, our mobile interface makes it easier to play on the go. ProfitX, where you call the shots anytime, anywhere. Users can use the code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. Shout out to the great folks there, Joseph at ProfitX.
Hey, good look there, my friend. I mean, Pizza Rat, you didn't miss too much, brother. You can always just go back and check in. But we were just talking about a bunch of things. AMD coming back into that zone, guys. So we couldn't break through some of the. Let me pull it up here. I am on NVDA right now. I still got to monitor this position. So yeah, you can see that we couldn't crack through this resistance zone and then continue to move lower now back into the middle of that range. But let's see what Adair's up to, guys.
Just be aware here, we have some tariff talk coming from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. She's actually, weirdly enough, not streaming right now on the White House. Usually these press secretary remarks are being streamed on the White House YouTube. That is not the case today. But regardless, you're talking quite a lot about tariffs. Understandably, questions coming up here ahead of quote-unquote Liberation Day on April 2nd when these tariffs will come into effect. Apparently, there will be no exemptions for farmers or no exemptions in any regard. It's also worth noting, apparently Donald Trump said he's committed to sectoral tariffs with regards to and on specific sectors. Also, apparently, the tariffs are going to be announced at a Rose Garden event on April 2nd. So Donald Trump announcing these Donald Trump announcing these tariffs on April 2nd. Apparently, some of these tariffs are going to be sectoral. So we're going to find out more on April 2nd. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Darius. Go on AMD, guys, you can see that we had this nice triangle being formed with that nice base, but consistent lower highs, and now coming back into the middle of that zone. So I'm like, oh, okay, what does that mean for us in NVDA? We had to give it a little bit more room if we just want to draw our basic trend lines and do some simplistic TA. That is what we're looking to hold right there. You can see that we have 3 touches, and now we need to break through that 106 and then climb higher. So what do I do? I'm like, okay, why are we stalling at specific levels? And I think that's what it's really good about the chain, right? It's not always going to be 100%. There's nothing in the market that's going to be. But why I look at the options chain and high levels of open interest is be like, okay, what is the market telling us? And where might we run into some possible overhead resistance or find some support? So on NVDA, boom, let's go. I'll send it to you in 1 second. I'm going to give you the open interest and see where we can potentially climb. This week, Sharif, in NVDA, we see at 110, we got 17,000 open contracts. That is going to be the highest, nearest, closest strike price until we move up all the way to 114 with 54,000 open contracts. They could be short on that side, but 105, 37,000 open contracts. I'm going to look for that to hold. Ooh, did you crush it there?
I did well on MLGO here, but I still didn't execute well enough. Okay, so we got in at 25.85, scalped out 26.10, scalped out again 26.20, added. This is very unusual for me to do this. 26.40, scalped out 26.57, scalped out again 26.77. So I was happy with this trade, but I didn't add enough. That's number one. Number two, I was taking profits too close to my entry. That's number two. Number three, I should have been getting in on the micro pullbacks. And I'm going to do an entire lesson on this. So the person that I follow for small caps talks about this a lot. And his modus operandi lately with these ones is to get them on micro pullbacks during an aggressive breakout. So nothing goes up in a straight line right away. It usually typically incrementally goes up, and there's usually micro pullbacks on a bigger move up, and that's what he's been executing on. And that's what his strategy has been very, very good in that regard. So that's what I've been trying to simulate a little bit more lately, but you're gonna have growing pains, obviously, when you're trying to take somebody else's strategy to make it your own, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. So this one is breaking out in an aggressive way where it's moving dollars at a time. So this breakout, I try to get long on these incremental pullbacks. I'm talking about a 30, 40 cent pullback on a $26 name. This is a fantastic look right now on MLGO. It is really breaking out. Yes, I know that you know, but it's not my job to make somebody else famous on this channel. Okay, so that's where it's going to be. So 27.50 is the high of the day right now. So what I'm trying to do is trying to gauge, is this one still in breakout mode or is it in pullback mode? I'm not talking about micro pullback mode. I'm talking about retracement mode into a key level of support. When you get these micro pullbacks, they don't typically pull into key levels of support. They're profit-taking pullbacks, right? People are taking them on the way up. They're wetting their beak on some profits, and then either they're getting back in or other people are getting in. So you're going to have these micro pullbacks even if the trend is still to the high side, and that's where the money fills are, in my humble submission. So MLGO, fantastic look on the day, big boy break. It's not up like what's it called, ICCT or anything. It's not up 256%, but it's giving you a lot more opportunities, at least midday right now. So keeping an eye out on this one. I do like it. If it sets up again in the right way, possibly off that 25.50. That'll be more of a deeper retracement. And the reason I say 25.50 is because you have an area crest there. I mean, you've got to be kind of, I don't want to say a bad word, but yeah, you got to be not very good to be able to see that there's 25.50 crest right there. And the point is to try to pick it up, if it's not a micro pullback, try to pick it up off a very obvious key level of support. I'm thinking 25 to 25.50. The 25 is for the closing prints. The 25.50 is for the wicks. Right now, it's a 27.50 high of day, so I'm keeping my eye out on that. I did get stopped out of BYON. I'm okay with that. We're still profitable on it, but this trade, I give it a try. I thought it was bouncing off the 20. I was wrong. I'll look to set up possibly at the volume weighted average price, which is on my side chart over here, 566. Newsmax is about to take out the high of the day. It just did. Yes, it did, Neil.
No way.
Newsmax is at the high of the day. It just took out 78. NMAX, guys, on the New York Stock Exchange. It's not a NASDAQ name, so if it halts, we're not going to be able to give you the tap. 78.27, the high of the day, and then, Joseph, a light pullback into 73, a $5 pullback. Not a big deal. You should try putting in like 5,000 shares and then see if that's a big deal or not, right? 78.27, Joseph, it's trading below 73 right now. Newsmax is on one, baby. Let's see if we can continue to move up here. Adara has breaking news.
I do, and it actually involves some of these smaller tickers as well, Sharif. OMEX, this is Odyssey Marine Exploration, and TMC, that would be the metals company, both moving here. Odyssey Exploration, or OMEX, that's going to be a penny stock. TMC, which is currently halted just under $2. Basically, seeing some report here circulating on X. Apparently, the White House is considering an executive order to fast-track permitting for deep-sea mining in international waters. So apparently, a White House permit in consideration with regards to, White House executive order in consideration to fast-track permitting for deep-sea mining in international waters. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Always bringing the heat with breaking news. I do appreciate that. Joseph, what do you got?
Yeah, good luck there, guys. So again, at 105.40, we're going to hop out of this NVDA trade. That's going to give us about 50 cents of risk here, and looking for this trend line to hold. But the rough thing about this, it looks like the Qs have potentially topped. I mentioned 466 as resistance zones on the Qs because that's that next level of high open interest. And then now you can see that we can't climb in NVDA. So we'll be patient, wait for this trend line to hold. It's either going to break which is unfortunate because that 50-cent risk isn't right below this area here where that should be the definitive out. But I believe that if it's going to be a momentum trade, you can see that we're forming that price action compression and looking for the continuation on the breakout. You had the isolated volume signatures that would confirm the breakout, but then it just wasn't sustained and no continuation following it. So one issue here is note that we are continuously making lower highs, and anytime we come back into previous resistance, it's immediately faded. So just be wary of that. Make sure you have a stop in place. I believe if we crack 105.40, then there can be some more downside and that we come back into the volume weighted average price levels. I wonder if this is so this isn't a genuine move. This is just something on P-Pro because I'm looking on multiple different platforms and I don't see this this volume print. So yeah, we'll be patient on that. But I mean, guys, we caught something really nice in the TQs throughout the whole day, and we just sat within this trade. So I'm happy about this one. It was a nice grinder. We were in it from about 10:30, and then our last out was around 12:30. So just 2 hours sitting in a nice trade. As I mentioned before, I did believe that we're going to fill up some of that gap here, and then you can see that just the breathe. You hold through all of this ebb and flow of this underlying ETF here, and then eventually you get the targets that you're wanting. And 55 was my primary target, but then we got a little bit north of that. So pretty good risk management, putting me green on the day. But again, one good trade. Sometimes that's all you really need, Sharif, is just one really, really solid trade to set you up really nice for the day. 1:30 already it's Monday. Can't believe that. I can't wait to get in the gym again. And no hockey.
What are you smashing today?
I'm going to do some core and do some light cardio, test out the knee.
What are you doing for core?
For core, I'll just do some leg raises, some ab rollers, and then I have like a 5-minute ongoing circuit where it's mountain climb, 30 seconds mountain climbers, 30 seconds plank, 30-second leg raises, and you just repeat that for 5 minutes. Yeah, and then eventually
you don't smash any lower back and obliques with the core though. You know, just
well,
to keep
the ab roller helps with the lower back big time, right? And the plank too, right? Plank nice on the lower back.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, as for deadlifts, I don't want to do like too many deadlifts, my knee, right? Because I got a tough.
Can I give a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Have you ever done kettlebell one leg deadlifts, like where you just set on one leg, the other one goes back up, kind of like this?
Oh, okay, on the tiptoe, right?
But yeah. Well, no, you should be with the deads. My understanding is that your weight should be in the middle of the foot on the deads.
Okay.
Whereas like when you're squatting, the weight should be on the heels. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
no, you're definitely not. I don't think you're wrong.
But yeah, I always throw in lower back and obliques.
With the core?
Only reason, you know what I used to say to my clients back in the day when I was a personal trainer in university? It's like, you ever see a street, like a telephone pole on the street that's kind of tilted one way a little bit? Then the city comes in and they get a jet cable and they grab it and they put it on the other side. I say if you build up your abs too much, you're too front dominant. If you build up your lower back, you're too dominant. The city's going to have to come in and put a jet cable on you, Joseph.
All right. So all right. So tell me what I got to do here. What do I got to do with the kettlebell to work on the lower back?
Well, I don't know if we got room right here, but I'll take a video of that. I love these kettlebell.
Yeah, you're on the kettlebells in the morning.
Oh, because my buddy gave me one, so I've had it for since COVID. But yeah, I like these kettlebells, bro. I mean, the weight distribution on the kettlebell is completely different. I don't know if you've ever pressed or tried to curl with kettlebells, but the weight is all on the outside of your arm.
I like that.
Right? Yeah. Think about it. When you're holding the dumbbell, the weight's top down. When you're holding the kettlebell, the weight's on the outside.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, exactly. Drag more.
Absolutely.
Drag on.
Right? So you get that pull on the outside. Right. I don't know what I'm talking about. I do
you definitely know what you're talking about. Don't try to fool anyone there. There's no sleeper build over here, buddy. It's just it's
sleeper build.
Yeah, full in display.
I'm hitting my.
There we go, guys.
The market moves like the waves, always rolling.
See,
so
when this
stay
guy
in the
tells
game.
you, he's like, all right, so you got to do this in the gym. You can't really argue. He's like, yeah, all right, buddy. You don't really know what you're talking about. But yeah, you never seen that before?
You didn't see this one, Neil? No? That's a new one, man. We got that one from last week. Thanks to Andre, baby.
The market moves
Neil's
like
coming in. He's coming in hot.
So stay in the game. Like, subscribe.
Oh, my day.
Hold up.
All right. You know what? I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say here. Come on, man. Bring it to Neil. Let's see.
Bring it in, Neil.
Bring it in, Neil.
What is even going on with that? You know, I said I was gonna shoot a new one. I'm not shooting no new video. Can't beat that.
Yeah.
What are you doing over there?
I'm having a good time, Neil, man. I even asked Andre, I'm like, can we do it on the beach? He was kind enough to do that green screen shot, man.
So just so you know, Sharif is gonna win that push-up contest, and this is why I bet on Sharif for that push-up.
He's good at
contest.
calisthenics.
I'm just throwing that out there.
It's all right.
I'm just throwing it out there. Oh, the other thing, you guys are talking about kettlebells. I'm just gonna throw this in there. One of the best, I find a really great core exercise is like kettlebell marches or like just do like a farmer's walk, but with one kettlebell instead of two, just to get that
Alternate
really good
arms?
core engagement. Yeah, just do one arm and then reverse and do the other arm, and then you're just walking. Because I find like the core stability is everything. That's just for myself.
100% agree with that.
I always used to work on that. And someone said in the chat, only powerlifters should do deadlifts. The beef with deadlifts, and my coach in uni used to always say this, it comes down to what are you doing it for? Because if you're an athlete training for something and you've got like a meet coming up or you got a game coming up, then doing deadlifts in season, it's not worth the risk to reward for a lot of people.
You don't have to go heavy,
because
though,
you injure
exactly.
Because you injure yourself.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna say is you don't have to do heavy. Like you can, I do deadlifts, but I do them with like I'll do them with relatively light weight and just worry about getting more reps of really, really high quality because I'm not trying to get hurt. If I'm hurt, I can't play with my daughter.
Agree.
And so like with everything and just like trading, find your sweet spot because you don't want to be one trade away from getting blown out, but you also don't want to be one lift away from ruining your month. You know what I'm saying? So
100% agree with that.
Just find what works for you. But also, Joe, man, you got no chance.
No
chance.
He's really
chance.
good, bro. He's really
No
good.
chance.
I'm gonna give him a
Wow,
chance.
no chance is insane.
What are you smashing now, push-up wise? Where you
How
at?
many?
Yeah.
Continuously?
Yeah.
I can't disclose that right now, man.
What?
I know where you're at right now, so.
Oh, to be fair to you, I haven't done continuous like in over a month. I'm doing them in blocks of 35. So I'm hitting
35 set? Okay,
yeah, 35
set.
reps.
Yeah, okay.
35. I'm doing 35s right now. So I was doing them in blocks at 25. And then I moved up to blocks at 30. Now I'm moving up to blocks at 35. I'm hitting around, when I do them, on the days that I do them, about 300, 325, right?
In how long?
No, but I'm mixing it in with other things. Like, you know, I'm doing abs, I'll do like row, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
one thing that I will add to note is that like when I'm hitting legs or everything or core, in between every set I'm crushing push-ups until failure.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Until failure, and then I just can't do it.
That's
so
good.
right
That's
now
good.
I would say consecutive and clean consecutive. I'm north of 50. I'm north of 50.
You're north of 50. Okay, so yeah,
consecutive.
you're killing.
I wouldn't kill you. I wouldn't absolutely kill you, but I wouldn't say there's no chance. There's not too much
I
of a
wouldn't
chance.
say
or
that
there's
either.
no chance. But all right, guys, let's get right back into this. We're getting back to where we need to do. But new traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right.
Bang.
We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything infinite. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description there, folks. But like again, we've been talking a lot. And it seems like a lot of people are interested in just kind of working out and everything along those lines.
Yeah.
So I used to do a lot of weighted dips and weighted push-ups too. So I would just put a plate on there, and then I was dipping two things. But Sharif, see, the thing is, though, you're always warm. I get cold, so I don't get to flex the guns in the short sleeve until summer, right? So we got to wait until the summertime when it's warm out here, and then exactly, then we can get that. But my guy to the right of me is in fantastic shape. And the one thing I will note, Sharif, is that your diet and your consistency through your diet is what separates you from the majority.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah,
I take that very seriously, bro. Like,
no, you have to take it, right? Because you can be in the gym, and they say most of the gains are made in the kitchen, and
Absolutely.
I believe that to a certain extent. Abs are made in the kitchen, etc. But if you're eating like garbage every weekend, but even though you're still in the gym, it's not going to work. You gotta have that clean and healthy eating, and to bring that into trading, just the consistency in the day-to-day routine is how you establish consistency through your analytics in trading, through everything in trading. It's all correlated, and that's when I find I'm at my best, is when I'm the most consistent. And I think a lot of people can agree to that there, guys. So let's go. We're going to send it to you in 1 second there, Sharif. We're getting back in NVDA. We're at this break-even price. We're going to talk about 105.40 being our stop-out price. We're still holding on to this position. Let's see if we can crack through this high day.
Absolutely, Joseph. Well said there. I'm keeping my eye on MLGO because it's coming back into that breakout area that we talked about, that 26 and a quarter to 26. I'm talking about this area over here. Let's see if it wants to hold up here because I'm all done this trade. It got into $30.10. Obviously we were involved in it at that time, but I don't want to be catching a falling knife, especially one as violent as MLGO. I don't think that this is the right move to try to catch it off a technical level like this. I don't mind though catching the long backup if it comes back into 26, 25 and a half and then shows me that there is aggressive buying, or maybe a couple of hammer candles that manifest in and around that area to show you that buyers are stepping in, not just a theory. So I'm keeping my eye on MLGO. It's the best of the bunch right now. I don't mind waiting a little bit more because I'm just not interested in catching a falling knife on MLGO. So great look. And great up move over here, but we're going to really need to wait a little bit more. And this is why I didn't take it long. Look at this. I mean, coming back down aggressively into 26, but there is a buyer here, at least for the moment, at 26, and he's gone or she's gone or whoever the hell is gone because it's below 26 right now. Let's see what does at 25.50, and then the closing prints come into 25. MLGO giving up the ghost now. It's $4 off that top and still giving you red candles, whether or not they manifest momentarily as hammer candles or not. So I'm going to keep my eye out on this one. Yeah, nothing really else happening here except MLGO. So we'll keep tabs on this. What's everybody else saying in the chat? Eddie, Eduardo, my man. Sharif, why don't you guys make a gym YouTube channel but not punish us so hard in the midday show? We got something brewing. What's that? What's that, Fabian? Gains with gains. No, we've got something for you guys coming up very shortly. It's going to be a new segment. We're already working with Fabian, with everybody here to have a kind of like a midday stretch kind of thing. We'll include some fitness stuff, obviously, in that, hopefully sooner rather than later. Yes, there we go. And what else are you guys talking about there in the chat? I don't know about that, Finch Jane. You two could join Navy SEALs. I don't know, man. I hear their training is pretty tough.
It's pretty tough. I wouldn't be good with the cold water stuff. That is where I would fail.
Yeah,
just being in the cold
I gotta
waters
agree with that.
Immediately. It's just like that is exactly. Put me in the warm water, do whatever water drill. But as soon as it gets cold, then that's where I'm gonna.
Like a lot of psychological stuff. You feel a lot, you know, with them, like than really physical. Well, both.
You have to go to a different space.
There you go.
Yeah, you have to go to a different mind space.
Do you do that? No, in certain workouts. Like, okay, here's what I mean. There's certain times where I zone out, and sometimes when I zoom in or zone in. Here, let me give you an example. So, you get the best results when your initiation movement is from the right area. For example, chest press. Everyone thinks that you should be pressing with your chest or your shoulders. It's actually the mid-back rotation front. So doing that, I really got to zoom in, really concentrate.
Lock that muscle in,
So that's when I zoom in. When I'm running, I zoom out. You know what I mean? I'm not fixated on the stride. My mind's somewhere else. So it's like you get both.
Dude,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, 100%. So, like, when I'm running, I get into that zone where I'm just thinking and manifesting and everything.
He's right.
Yeah.
He's killing me over here, bro.
No, when I'm running, I totally zone out, like you say, and I'm just thinking about other things. Like, when I was training aggressively, it's just like, okay, what am I going to do to this individual next? And just, like, manifesting.
You go there,
Yeah. And I never remember. I couldn't put the words together, but one time Sean O'Malley, a UFC fighter, he said, I had to go to a place I'd never been before when he fought Peter Yan, which was an absolute fantastic fight. And I remember I was in this one sparring session, and I was so tired. He was faster than me, and he weighed a little bit more than I do, but I just had to go to a place where I didn't care, and I just eliminated all the physical aspects.
Amazing,
I'm like,
bro.
I don't care if I'm tired. I don't care whatever. I just want to continuously hit this guy in the face until either one of us give up. And that was one time where I was like, yo, I actually had to go to a place I've never been before.
Seriously? Yeah, that's intense.
It was crazy.
I don't know if I've ever gotten like that in that sense with like the combat component of it, but like in a lot of the training times when like I'm trying to break my record for like a 10 mile or a 10K or whatever, that I'll kind of get into that, but I don't think it's as deep.
It was like, okay, so like Mike Tyson says, he's always scared, and when I go into the ring, I'm absolutely absolutely terrified. And if you say that you're not, I don't believe you. But it's the fear that continuously drives me, right? And that's why I always used to run so much, because I was always so scared of getting tired. That was my biggest fear. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to get tired, so I would just work until the point where I was comfortable enough to be like, hey, I don't think I'm going to get
I legit went through that exact same thing. My CrossFit days, when they kept making you lift weights and run, which I found to be a big Achilles heel, I would suck at the running component because I would like gas in all the weightlifting components, so I would always fall behind the run, and my times would suffer. And you know how like the Metcon is, everybody does the Metcon at the same time, so you're literally competing with everybody else. So I would always get better butterflies before the Metcon. I was so competitive.
And you feel when you get butterflies, your muscles, like it absorbs oxygen from your muscles or something along that, but you get nervous and everything like that, and things don't work. But yeah, I appreciate that. Good stuff there,
sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, we'll get back into the market. I'm in here in NVDA, going to be a little bit more patient, not working out right now. It sounds like you guys are having fun in the chat, so that's all that matters. I mean, we've been talking about trading for the past 2.5 hours, so we got to get a little bit into the sports and
absolutely.
combat things.
Yeah, why not, man? All right, I see you guys yelling about. Okay, so it looks like HOLO, H-O-L-O, started breaking out. It still hasn't taken out that 92 penny high of the day.
Charlie.
What happened?
Sorry, Charlie.
Go ahead.
Charlie says over under 5.8 for these two. Say we're giving small.
What does that mean?
You're just calling us small, essentially.
What, are you crazy, bro?
On,
like, what are you? Are you 5'11"?
No, I'm not. I'm like 5'9.5".
That's not accurate, because I'm almost 6 foot. I'm 5'11", and I'm not that much taller than you, so that can't be right. Well, we're not 5'8", bro. Calm down over there. Yeah. Anyway, HOLO started breaking out. Joseph over here, but it's still rejecting that 88 penny area. Still holding up the 10 exponential over here on the 1, that is. But there's a new entrant involved in small cap gapper world. It goes by ABVC. Just took that buck, but this one's quite illiquid for a dollar name, 579,000. Not a good look right now for this one. I wouldn't be trading it personally, given how much volume it has. So I'm going to steer clear of that one. But you guys were calling that out. I do appreciate that. Shout out to you guys, Mean Gene. Yo, calm down there, Mean Gene. Oakland Short Kangs. I like that.
That's crazy.
Get it. You guys are trolling us today, but I'll take it, baby. I'll take it. Whatever. We're defending here MLGO, guys, at 26. So this one is respecting price action resistance, now using it as support. MLGO has been on one all day. That $30 rejection, though, is still in play, but it is finding support at the previous area resistance, using it as support. So not a bad look. If you're looking for a small cap gapper that might bounce off a key technical level, I'm looking at MLGO. It's got all the ingredients, the spread, the percentage up on the day, and certainly the volume, having printed about 40 million shares. Amy Tiger, Sharif, Joseph, multiple indecision candles on NMAX. Thoughts? Let's have a look. Where is my oh, wow, here we go. So look, this is yelling like a double top right now. We saw Newsmax take out the high of the day. I believe earlier it was 76.80s, then it got into about 78 and change. So this one, if it loses $54, $52, in and around this area. So this is what we call a possible double top. A big move up, an area spike. We come back down, we consolidate, we make another attempt at that same area. They don't have to be the same price. They have to be in and around one another. If we lose that area, and then after that we lose the middle part, that $54 to $52 area, watch out. All hell could break loose to the downside, so keep your eye out on that one. It's up 530%, but it's about $13 off its high. Adara, what's going on up there?
What's going on here, Sharif, are some concerns about OpenAI, specifically if it does not become a for-profit by the end of 2025. So CNBC is reporting that the company risks losing $10 billion if it does not become a for-profit by year-end of 2025. Apparently, its $40 billion funding round could shrink to $30 billion unless they're able to restructure as a for-profit. We know that Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, has really been pushing for that for-profit status, but that has really been challenged by other factors. So keep an eye here on Microsoft, a large backer here of OpenAI. Apparently, if they do not become a for-profit by the end of 2025, their $40 billion funding round could take a $10 billion hit. Back to you.
I mean, Elon's been pushing for that for a minute, man. He's wanted blood
Sammy.
Yeah, he doesn't like Sam Altman.
No.
And Sam Altman is trying to be very civil, but you could tell he doesn't like Elon either, right? He says he respects his achievements, but I don't think they like each other at all. Yeah, it is kind of a workaround there. Like, I don't really mind Elon being a little bit complaining here. I think his motives are suspect.
Yeah.
But I think that what it comes down to is sound. Like, you can't start as a non-profit, Joseph,
and then
get all the
transition.
protections, and then just be like, hey, well, we're gonna make money now.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Trying to monetize it, I guess.
Well, exactly.
Right? So, so
I don't know how I feel about that, but I gotta tell you, chat is my favorite
Chat,
GPT
good.
or LLM, obviously. So I like Sam Altman, obviously, and
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a revolutionary tool, to be honest with you, and I think we're just in the starts of it. But as for monetization, because like, what do you think is the next step for Sam Altman and ChatGPT?
that's really good, man. I think Agentic, we've talked about. They already have Operator, but it's kind of like version 1.0, you want to call it, of
Better for
Agentic
businesses,
AI.
online businesses. and
Absolutely,
everything.
man. Imagine just being able to. Okay, I'll give you an
I
example.
mean, we have them, but they're not that good, right?
They're not good yet?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let me give you an example. In the morning, I'm using these infographics, and I drive Fabian crazy because Fabian wants to have the infographic perfectly 16:9 and fit it in the frame. And I literally have to zoom them manually by hand to make them all fit perfectly in the frame, and I still fail. Imagine I had an operator, an agentic AI that did all that for me. It set up all my different infographics on all my screens, set up the talking points about the infographic, and I had to do nothing. I'm just talking about my use case. You may think that that's trivial, but imagine that on scale, to be able to kind of set up all these I don't want to say meaningless, but mind-numbing tasks that have to be done in order for things to be executed well. I personally would like that in my job, and I'm sure many other people would like that in their job. So I really do feel Agentic AI has some real-world use case applications in like the short to intermediate term. When we talk about robotics, Joseph, we got to look at a little bit more long-term.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see these robots fighting online and stuff like that. I get, and people are like tripping online. They're like, why are they teaching the robots how to fight? Why are they? If there's anything,
It's like we're so far away from it. It's not going to be in our lifetime.
I don't want to teach the robots to fight at all.
I do. That'd be sick. I think that'd be sick. Yeah, because it would.
Have you not watched iRobot?
Yeah, of course.
Do you not know
iRobot? Yeah, man. Have you ever? You got to watch a movie called The Creator. It's really good. It's really good. So that it's an AI created and how
Creator?
Yeah, it's called The Creator, and it's how about robots, how they have personality, they want to eliminate, and people just say they're code, right? It's just code. They don't have
The Creator.
Yeah, The Creator. Really good movie for those who have seen it. But yeah, here we go, guys.
Yes, sir.
The thing on NMAX is like I've seen somebody in the chat, is someone short, and I was thinking like, okay, considering we've squeezed 521% here on the day, which is absolutely insane. At some point, there is going to be that short trade come in. I don't know just when. You're going to need some more data points, a couple more days to be printed, and then some serious indecision. Because if it's this strong, I wouldn't be surprised if you get some more like squeeze-like type price action where you go even a little bit higher than this. But again, we don't know the top. We just got to pay attention and wait for more data. Remember that show BattleBots?
No.
Oh, yeah, like that was like
sick.
the original.
Like the robots that fight in that, like,
in the cage and yeah.
Like they can like
it's still on
shock
to this
each
day.
other.
Yeah, everyone had a different
That's
weapon.
crazy,
and stuff.
bro.
It's still on to this day. BattleBots. I can't wait to see that in the future. But here we go, guys. Now back to the break even on NVDA, 3.4%. We're down on the session. Am I going to add to this trade? I just don't feel that it's a momentum style of trade. And in order for me to add to this, I would want to see it start to participate a little bit better here. Every pop that we see in the NAS and in the SPY, we're not getting that follow through here on NVDA. Apple is starting to run a little bit higher as well too. So we had that pullback. We didn't get as low as the volume weighted average price, but now we have iBit and the likes of Amazon both approaching the high. Sorry, not iBit, but Amazon getting back in towards those highs of days. We are slightly off them, but you can see with those pops, we're not getting that participation in NVDA that we would like to see. So it may be a matter of time until that volume picks up on the lower time frames, and then we can break through some of these resistance zones. One thing that's positive to note is the consistent higher lows, okay? we'll take that into effect and we'll implement that into the trade plan. But I mentioned as soon as we break 105.40, thesis invalid. Are we going to have the opportunity to get in again? Absolutely, but I think you need to be more patient, and I do believe you will get a lower price, my friend.
See what your friend Elon did today in Canada?
No, what did he do?
So you couldn't lease a Cybe. You couldn't lease a Cybertruck.
But now you can.
Today?
There you go.
Literally the first day today. And so you go to their website, now you can do it. I was telling Randy, and Randy's like, interesting, 100 dots. What do you think? Obviously, we're having some issues with sale and demand everywhere. Let's be honest about it. He's getting protests everywhere. It's not just Europe. It's not North America. So yeah, interesting look there from Tesla on the day. Prior to that, you had to actually go through a third-party leasing company, and then all the red tape that comes with. Now you can do it in-house with Tesla. I want to mention this one before we go to Adara. I know we're going to move up to Adara. Shout out to Brenrex calling out WIMI. WIMI started out its life south of $1, reclaimed that without any trouble. Look at this, Brenrex. I mean, it blows through that dollar without any initial resistance, like it didn't even matter. And now it's above Friday's high. Friday, we weaseled up to 110. The current high of the day is 116. So we have a couple of days of higher, 3 days in a row, in fact, of higher highs and higher lows on WIMI. Fantastic look there, guys, on WIMI. We won't be trading, well, I won't be trading this going into the end of the show here because I'll have to manage it while I'm on the green screen. Adara, what's up there?
We're going to take a look here at LMT, Lockheed Martin on watch. As you know, this dog took quite a tumble a couple weeks ago when Boeing was announced as a recipient of this at least $20 billion contract for the next generation fighter jet. Now, though, LMT apparently receiving its own contract from the U.S. Army, up to $4.9 billion contract from the U.S. Army for prism production from LMT. So keep an eye on this one. Getting a little bit of volume fluctuation and a bit of price fluctuation here, guys. Back to you.
Great look there. Oh my God. Yeah, is that the one? Okay, so this one is the one that mimics human movement because like each thing there is like a human muscle, right, Fabian? Yeah, so they're literally trying to copy the human form factor. I mean, I don't think they need to go that far, but dude, I'm gonna save some of the videos that I saw on TikTok of these robots fighting.
Yeah.
I don't know why the hell they're teaching the robots how to fight. I'd hide that information from them. Like, yeah, you wouldn't be able to learn. Like, if there was an LLM that you put into the robot, I would purposely not include that in the pre-training. I don't want these things fighting, dude. Like, they're going to be incrementally stronger than us and smarter. Let's be real. They're going to have access.
Those exoskeletons. You see
That's sick.
Those things are sick.
Okay, another video I have to say. So the Great Wall of China, obviously a lot of incline, a lot of decline. It's hard for senior citizens to really scale the wall. And so there's this exoskeleton literally that you put on around your waist. It helps lift up your legs. It's not Elysium, guys, where Matt Damon's throwing around people in a fight. But literally there are exoskeletons that are being used right now. What's going on there, Neil? What's going on? Is that Prince? I don't know. He's laughing. Share. Your
you gotta share the giggles, man.
Looks like Westworld. I don't know who Westworld is.
Oh, it's a show. It's a show.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, so Fabian just told me it's literally imitating reality so badly that it scares so
Fabian,
well
I
that it's scary.
I couldn't get into it. I tried it a couple times. I watched a couple episodes a couple times of it, and I just couldn't get into it for some reason.
Adara, you know about it?
Yeah, I like it. It's good. The cast is sick.
Yeah.
Adara says it's really good and the cast is sick. That means they did a good job casting. Adara has very strong opinions on the casting of certain movies. I know that for a fact because she's told me that before.
There you go.
Anything you want to leave the viewers with before we got about 40 seconds?
Yeah. We'll hold on to this position here, guys, until we get stopped out. It's not looking too good as the market wants to pull in, and we're starting to get that turtle shell type price action on the TQs. So we'll be a little bit more patient. Once we break through that level, then I'll just get out. So just the stop in place. But you can see we're slowly starting to curl over here, guys. So yeah, just be wary in case we do get that move back to the volume weighted average price. It is a negative session on a lot of these big names today. We will be positive with this this TQQ trade.
Nice.
We like that one. So again, be patient. Make sure you guys have those stops in place. And yeah, I mean, speaking of consistency, guys, get in the gym, document, journal, do whatever you have to do to get to that level that you want to be at. But for the most part, guys, it's 2 o'clock. Keep it safe. And we will. Oh, you're gone the rest of the week, Sharif.
I am. Yeah, I'm gone.
Buddy.
The Obi's filling in for me.
Yeah.
No, for the rest of the week. I'm taking the week off. No, just to take it easy. I can't travel yet, Katina, because of the build out.
Just traveling from the couch to the bed there, man.
The afternoon show's not up yet. Okay, so we'll hold off a little bit here to throw to the Katina Man. So I want to mention a couple of ones. You guys see the Katina Man and the Neil on the bottom of the screen, but I want to mention to you guys, MLGO is still holding that 25.50, 26, 25.50, 25 level. So it's technically still holding support. So MLGO is still tradable, up 51%. I also want to mention Newsmax. I'm sure the boys will be covering this. And new IPO today. It's slowed down in the amount of shares that it's been trading, but it's up 493%. If you're just joining us, this monster opened up at $14, and now we have a high a day on Newsmax here, if you'll allow me, of 78.27, kind of a double top. So be a little careful with this one, as it could give up the ghost. So we're good to go? We're good to go. Okay, so Joseph and Obi will be on tomorrow. I'll see everybody shortly at the green screen.
Yeah, welcome, everybody. Okay, so tomorrow's Joby. Joby will be in the house. If you wonder why I was chuckling, so I'm not making... All right, so I'm trying to think of how... YouTube suggests some weird stuff. First off, so when I was looking for the stream for this afternoon to go log into the chat and like all the normal stuff that we do, I got suggested a video from this channel, like